Hey guys, how's it going? Good morning, happy Monday. Let me set up this room real quick and then we can get started. Today is February 15th. This month's flying by, guys. This year is actually, I feel like it was just New Year's. Let me go ahead and just put these details into this room real quick. February 15th. Start right here. All right, that should be good. Let me go ahead and set up the rest of the links and we can be good to go. So let me check the charts real quick. I'm currently looking for some scalps here for US 30. Obviously, market's really slow. It is a US holiday. So there's going to be little to like no movement. And we have to be out of trades before 10 a.m. anyway. So we'll see if there's any trades available. If not, you might just sit tight. But I'm here to answer some questions and we'll look for any possible trades if there is any. But all right, let me send this link out real quick and then we can get started with this. Let's post this to the rest of our social media real quick, guys, and then we should be good to go. All right, let me send this link out to the rest of the groups. US 30 signal, I'll take a look at that right now. 1 second after I'm done posting these links up. Let's see. Looks like it's a pending sell signal here for US 30. And we'll see how it plays out. Honestly, I don't know if it's going to drop because the sentiment's still pretty high for the US 30. Let's see. Sentiment's still at 75%. So it's still pretty high for the most part. It's I don't know if there's a lot that needs to be pushed around, but let's see. Yeah, it's still 75% short. So it's kind of risky to take a short position here because with that many people short, odds are it's probably going to spike up. It's probably going to come down, test the pivot, and then shoot right back up. But I mean, we'll see how it plays out from here. Let me finish posting these links up real quick, guys, and we should be good. And I think the last place is going to be the Instagram. So let me just post it on there real quick. We should be good. All right, let's just screenshot this. Save that. Post the link here. All right, looks like we're good to go, guys. So let me go and take a look at the market over here. And let me go ahead and post the link over here for the premium members for the Zoom. So I'm using a different format right now, guys, for Zoom. I was using the webinar function before, but now I'm using the normal meeting function. So we'll see how this plays out. I mean, if it has issues, I'll just go back to the webinar function, but I think it should be fine. Hey, man, the Zoom just got sent out right now. So you guys should be able to find it in the premium group. There we go. All All right, so everything looks ready to go, guys. You know, like I mentioned, today is a US holiday, so the market is going to be moving very slow. Obviously, you can see right here, market barely moved for a US 30 last night. Right here, we have a pending sell. I'm not sure if it's something that I really would want to take right now because just due to the low volatility and due to the fact that sentiment is super high on the sell side, there's 75% of people short for the Dow 30 right now. So what will probably happen is I can probably see this drop slightly, and I think it's going to shoot right back up. So I don't know if I'd want to enter this sell right now. I mean, we'll keep watching it. The market still hasn't opened yet. It opens here at 6:30. So I'll just mark it on the chart for you guys. We're actually on kind of early today for the live session. I usually come on a little later, but today I'm on a little early. The market doesn't open until 6:30. So we'll see how the market reacts to current price. I actually want this to close. So if this sell right here closes, this is perfectly fine, because if we get that, then the next, obviously the next signal is going to be a buy. So that's going to be better for us, because I'd be more inclined to take a buy rather than a sell right now because of the market sentiment. Obviously, I don't want to be trading where the majority of people are trading, and majority of people are short right now for Wall Street 30. 75% of people are short, while 25% of people are long. And generally, the market makers and institutions move opposite of where the majority of people are, right? So that's pretty much what we'll be looking for as we get closer to market open. So we still got a lot of time, guys. I'm not really trying to force anything right now. So we'll see how this goes, guys. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to, sorry guys, there we go. All right, just let everybody in here. So it looks like everyone's good to go. Let me just mute everyone. Yeah, so this function is different. It's let me see if I can, okay, there we go. I just muted everybody. I'm using the normal meeting function this time for Zoom, guys. Usually I use the webinar function, but I think there might be less lag on this actual on this meeting function. So it looks like we're good. Just like I mentioned, guys, we're just waiting for the market to open. It's still early right now. Market hasn't opened yet. Market opens in about 10 minutes. So we're going to wait for market to open. Once it does open, then we'll start looking for signals. Otherwise, we'll start looking for scalps, possibly if we see anything. But I just don't see anything right now. Obviously, we need price to reject off structure and price to reject off the K2 pivot. The last entry that we had here was down over here. So you can see, obviously, down here there was a rejection off the pivot and structure. So this is the last entry that was available for US 30. So if I go ahead and replay this back here, this is the last valid entry because there was a rejection of the pivot and rejection of the structure right there. With that said, we would have entered a long position here for 500 pips. Obviously, you guys can see that it does hit TP right here if we go ahead and move this forward. So that's pretty much it. After that, there hasn't been another entry. We're just waiting for this to actually come back down, because all the zones are way down here, and then these new zones over here have been created over last night. So it's currently just bouncing around this area for now. So pretty much at this time, we're just waiting for price to come down, providing for an entry, and then we'll take another buy if that ends up closing out. But until then, we're just going to sit tight, guys. Just keep in mind that, again, for you guys that aren't located in the US, today is President's Day in the US. So we might not even see much movement from now until Asia session later down here. So the US market does close at this time over here, but we might be able to catch something off the back end of London session if this ends up pushing, some point around here. I think London session closes mid New York session around here. So we'll see when that turnover happens. I mean, otherwise market is just slow overall, guys. Just a reminder, we had a euro odd position that I called last night. This didn't fill yet, so none of your orders should be filled yet for euro odd. If I go on the shorter time frame here, you can see that as soon as I called it, it was already in, it was above it. So it hasn't came down to fill the entry yet. So this is one of our pending trades, euro odd. There were a couple trades that I was going to call last night. Unfortunately, I didn't call them because they look risky, like euro JPY. This one right here broke structure, and this was an entry. Unfortunately, I didn't call it, but it looks like it would have been pretty close to full TP at this point. Other than that, everything's just been kind of slow. There was a possible entry here for odd CAD. Thankfully, we didn't take it because it went the opposite way. And same with the rest of the Aussie pairs. These were all very bullish on market open, and then they just started dropping from there. So it's a good thing I didn't call those trades. Odd JPY here, I was going to call this trade, but unfortunately I didn't. Odd NZD, there was nothing here yet, but I do anticipate this to drop, to continue up. And other than that, I think that's about it for the most part. K² here, I analyzed this yesterday as a entry. Unfortunately, we didn't call this trade either because the market was open too early, and it would have pushed up pretty nicely. Other than that, I think the market's pretty slow overall. So if you guys have any questions or you guys want me to analyze anything, feel free to put it in the chat and then I can analyze it for you guys. Otherwise, we're going to be looking at US 30 today and see if we can catch anything off market open. So market's about to open in about 8 minutes. We'll probably see a breakout off this candle right here and possibly a scalp. So we'll give that some time. But for now, I'm going to check out the chat. So let's see. Hey, morning, Matt. Morning, Slava. So say, hey, brother, let's pop these pips. Have a great week, by the way. Yeah, definitely, bro. I'm ready for that. I mean, today's a holiday, so market's going to be pretty slow, but I'm still going to be looking for some trades. If we end up having some around now. But just a reminder, guys, if you guys are in the Zoom, go ahead and join the YouTube as well, just to ask your questions. I'm not going to be looking at the the Zoom chat. I'll be focused more on the YouTube chat. So you guys can have two windows open, just one for your questions, and then one for the live stream if you guys are following it real time, with regard to these scalps. Let me keep going down the chat here on the YouTube and see if I miss anything before we get started. All right, everyone's making it to the Zoom right now. Morning, Karen. Morning, everybody. Morning, Dwayne. Morning, Camo. Morning, Kirsten. Can you show how you get the currency background on the charts? Just plug in, please. Yeah, Karen. So basically, to get this right here in the background, just click on the settings right here. Go to this full settings bar right there, and then go over to appearance, and then click watermark right here. And then when you turn that on, you'll see it on your chart right there. So if you turn it off, it's gone. If you turn it on, it's on your chart. And that's how you'll get the asset and time frame in the background for the watermark. See if there's anything else here. Hey, what's up, John? Shawn, if you see a picture of me from Aaron, disregard it. Hey, Jeremy. Morning. Morning, Peter. Morning, Indra. Hey, Dilraj. Shawn, it's US holiday today, right? Yeah, so today is President's Day in the US, so that's why the market's super slow. And it's probably going to be slow throughout the entire day. But if we see something available, we'll still take the trade. But I think volatility is going to be pretty slow. Obviously, you can see right here for US 30. Ever since London opened, it didn't really move much. It's only moved about from here. It's only moved about 200 pips, which is like nothing, right? Because when we scalp, we try to shoot for 500 pips. So, if that's the case, there's just really nothing here for us to really look at. But we'll see what's here. If anything, we might look at different assets. So we do have US 30 here, but we can also look at stuff like the DAX if that's available. So the DAX looks like it moved a little more here. Let me see if there's any entries here for the scalps. Actually, yeah, there was a nice entry right here. I'm not sure if anyone caught this DAX entry last night. So I think we would start looking for this like around London Open, which would have been, right here, obviously. So off London Open right here for the DAX, it looks like there was a couple entries off here. There was 1, 2, 3 entries right here, depending on, where you wanted to take it. We had the rejection off the pivot, rejection off the structure. And then same right here. There's 1, 2, 3 entries right there. If you took any of these entries for a short right here, and I think, I can't remember what the sweet spot was for this, but I'm assuming it's probably around 1,000 pips. It just depends. I'm not sure. I don't trade the DAX, so I wouldn't really know. But if we were to take this trade here, obviously, look, it would have hit the full TP right there. Depending if you took either of these trades here, there's a whole bunch for you to take from. Looks like there was a buy right here as well. How many pips is that? I think 500 pips actually is the sweet spot, not 1,000. 1,000 is kind of much. So like, for example, here, you could have taken these trades in both directions. Like, for example, here, we have a rejection off the pivot in the structure right there. So if you were to take that for, I think, 500 pips, which would be 50 points, this would have hit full TP right there for the DAX 30. if you took this buy entry right here. And then again, right here, there's a whole bunch right here as well. If you took any of these three, this first green candle here would be the first one. So that would be a win right there for 500 pips. And then again, for this one over here as well. So it just depends on what you guys are trading. I personally don't trade the DAX, so I'm not sure, what the sweet spot would have been for the DAX. But if you did take these trades, it looks like either of them would have been a profitable trade. Other than that, let me see if there's any other trades here that are available. Because if US 30 is moving too slow, we'll just look around for other indices and see if there's anything that we could possibly take. So we have that zone right there. We have this zone down here. And then I'll take a look at the other ones too, like UK 100 and stuff like that. Not sure if you guys took the UK 100 trade called by Mark in the group for the London guys. It looks like their call hits stop loss. Let me see. Yeah, so I don't call the UK 100 trades. Like this one was called by Alkin over here. It looks like it was a sell signal for UK 100. But it looks like there was a bunch of scalps here. So depending on which strategy you were trading, if you were scalping the UK 100, it looks like there was a couple entries right here, or just one actually, that happened overnight. So if you were following this last night, it looks like, yeah, on the 15th, actually this morning. So this morning at 2:10 a.m. or not, yeah, at this morning, 2:10 a.m. my time, looks like there was an entry here for UK 100. If you're using the K2 snipe strategy, we have the pivot rejection right here off the wick and rejection off the structure. So with that said, if you took this long position here, I think the sweet spot is 200 pips, right? It's between 150 and 200 pips. But if you took that scalp there for 200 pips and you let this run, obviously would have hit full TP right there. So very nice entry there if you guys took this during London session. I know some of you guys were trading this during London. And if you did, great entry right there, full TP. Other than that, doesn't look like there's any entries currently at this time. But we'll keep looking for any entries off these pairs. So other than that, we're still waiting for US 30 to open right now in about 120. I mean, technically the US market's closed, but there's still going to be some volatility as people from the US market enter who are still trading the futures even during this holiday, because this doesn't close until 10 a.m. my time, guys. So we have about 3.5 hours to trade this if and so there are any entries available. But we'll have to wait and see until then if that appears for itself. Otherwise, let me see if there's anything else in the chat before we continue. Famous said, is your USD a good sell, or what would you wait? So let me pull up your USD real quick for you, Famous. Let's pull up your USD over here. So I'll go ahead and reanalyze this from scratch. So here's our naked chart right here. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn on the K2sr indicator to determine the rejection points. So once we have that lined up right there, let's turn this on over here. Looks like we have the zone up here. Zone right there. Zone right there. Big zone right here. Since this zone kind of engulfs all of these other pairs, we'll just create one big zone instead of the smaller ones within it. And then same with this one as well. One big zone right there. So once we have that drawn up, I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. Zoom out from this point. And next up, we're going to turn on the momentum indicator right here. So looks like price is just ranging within these two zones right here. I mean, obviously we have a bullish bias right here because their most recent signal was a buy signal. And it looks like it's forming some sort of break and retest pattern. So we have the rejection off this point. We have the buy signal right here. We have it reaching resistance right here. So it looks like a little break and retest because it broke this structure right here. What it looks like what's happening here is it broke structure. It's coming back for this retest. And then it'll possibly shoot right back up right here. So we have a bullish bias for this right now, Famous. Reason for that is because the most recent signal was a buy signal right here. Obviously, from what we analyzed yesterday, I mentioned that, the same pattern just repeats itself, rejection off that structure, or I'm pretty sure there was a structure down here. It just hasn't, it's not available on the specific time frame. Well, let's use this for an example right here. If this was a structure, it'd be a rejection off that point, a buy signal right here, pushed up to test the next structure. As soon as it broke this structure right here and closed, it tested the next structure above right here. So we have a pending sell right now, actually, Famous. So this is it's an iffy trade right now. It's not something that I personally would want to trade. because if this ends up closing, then it might be coming down, obviously, right? So we have that same pattern here. For example, we have the rejection buy signal, break in structure, push up. Same thing again right here, rejection buy signal, push up. And then if this ends up closing as a sell signal, this will probably be the rejection off that point. This sell signal, if it does close, and it'll just do what I just mentioned earlier. It's going to come down and test this structure. Once it does that, it can either reject off it or continue farther down. So, I mean, it just really depends on, how the market moves from that point. But at this specific, at this specific point in time, there's a lot of uncertainty for Euro USD. Obviously the reason for that is that it's just ranging within these two zones right here. There's just not much to really pull out of this. For me personally, if I was to take this for a sell, I would identify the rejection off this point. So this is what I'll do. I'll draw two scenarios here, and I wouldn't take the trade in either one just yet. So like, for example, here, if I wanted to take a sell, I would identify this as a rejection off the structure. I would wait for that sell signal right here to close. If that does close, I would want price to come down to this structure down here, because obviously, you don't want to get into this point and then price can reject at any point from here or anywhere within this zone, because it's the support zone, right? It's a big zone where price can reject from like at any point. But for example, here, if we have the rejection from here, if we have that sell signal that closes and it pushes below here, then we have this huge open space here for a sell. And this is where I would actually sell it, because I'll show you another example of when it played out, right? Right here, we have the rejection from the structure. We have that sell signal that I'm looking for right here that's pending. And then when price broke and closed past this structure, look what happened. It's the same pattern that I'm just mentioning right now. If price broke and closed past that structure, we have a short position right here. And then you can take this ride all the way down here to this next structure for about 85 pips, right? And then when it gets to this point, it can either break below and continue farther, or it can reject off it, which is what happened here. So that's the same pattern that I'm looking for right here. This is for a sell, right? Vice versa, if this doesn't end up closing with that sell signal, then I would be looking for a buy signal. I'd be looking for a buy trade if that ends up being the case, because if that's the case there, then we would have our rejection off this point, this buy signal right here, that little break and retest pattern that I was just mentioning. Price broke structure right here, retest it, shoot back up, and then I would possibly take it if it closes above here, because it's the same pattern, just in the opposite direction. So just looking at this from this point, you can see here that it works both ways. We have the rejection off here, buy signal, push up to the next structure, right? So it doesn't matter, which way you're looking at. Obviously right now there's just uncertainty. I'd wait for it to close above here or close below here for me to take a buy or for me to take a sell, because you don't want to trade when it's within a range like this, because you can literally get caught in the wrong way. Like for example, if you were just to enter a sell right here, famous, you might get caught in some whipsaw action. So like for example, if you entered a sell right here, price can easily reject off. It could push down to the structure and then it could reject off and stop you out from there. So I wouldn't enter just yet. I would wait for it to actually close, down here before you take that sell entry, so that you can ride this down pretty much to that next structure down here, right? And just keep in mind, right now it's a US holiday. So this is a US pair, Euro USD, obviously. So you're going to see not very much volatility for this specific pair as we watch it. And then another thing that I'll look at for this right here, just to confirm that the US dollar is stronger than the euro, is I'll pull up the index over here. So I'll pull up the index for the euro index right there, and then the dollar index right here. So you can see that the euro index hasn't really moved much since last night. Or actually, it's moved a little bit, not a lot, but like barely. Or actually hasn't moved at all. So the euro index is actually closed right now, looks like. Because this is the same area that it was yesterday. It was just this, it's just been flat. So, basically, if we want Euro USD to come down from this point, we need the dollar to be stronger, right? It looks like it's pushing up above right here. So it's pushing up above. So with that said, it's probably strengthening. And then if it continues, so for example here, if this ends up closing above this structure right here, zoom in a little closer. If it crosses the last pivot right here and closes above it, then we could probably anticipate it to continue up higher, right? It's the same thing for here. Like, example, when price broke and closed below the pivots over here, it ended up dropping pretty nicely. So you keep that in mind. But I mean, I'd have to wait for that confirmation. So it's the same thing both ways. I would still wait for that confirmation. For one, the euro index isn't even open right now. So it's kind of hard to see how strong the euro is at this time. But for the dollar index, it looks like it's pushing up. So if it continues to push up, the US dollar will gain in strength and this will continue to drop further. And if you guys aren't familiar with how price moves, basically when price is going up, that means that the first currency is stronger than the second currency, vice versa. When price is going down, that indicates that the second currency is stronger than the first currency. So if the dollar index continues to push up from here, then we can see this drop. If the dollar index ends up failing to break this pivot right here and it drops from this point, then we can expect your USD to go the opposite direction upwards. So just keep that in mind. But like I mentioned, there's really no entry here for your USD. I would wait for that confirmation. Once we have that confirmation, then you can possibly take this trade. Exactly, yeah. So Samurai just mentioned the DXY is basically your USD inverted. I agree, because obviously it's going to move opposite of the DXY. So obviously, I personally would like if they were both moving, because you can see if the euro is strong, like going this direction, and the dollar index is going down. But if this is the case where we only have one index to look at, then yeah, we would want the DXY to go opposite of what we're trying to trade. So just keep that in mind, guys. Otherwise, I'll come back and take a look at this a little later. The US market just opened, well, the stock exchange in general. And let's see if US 30 even moved at all. So it spiked up a bit. This is a pending buy signal right here. We'll see if it closes. If it does close, this isn't going to be an entry because we don't take the opening candle, right, guys? We wait for a little bit. But you can see, as I mentioned, volatility is starting to pick up slightly as we enter this session, even though the market's technically closed today. There's still people trading, even though the market's closed. Hey, morning, Cameron. Cameron said, how's the market moving today? Slow? Yeah, pretty slow overall, Cameron. There wasn't really much to really look at today. I mean, there's one trade over here that Famous is looking at for Euro USD, but it's just ranging within these two zones. So basically what we're looking for is for price to either close above here or close below here for us to take this entry. Otherwise, I mean, overall market's pretty slow for the most part. Well, we'll see how this plays out. We're going to see, obviously, there's going to be some market manipulation right here, as this is the opening candle. Well, technically the opening candle if we were going off normal time. And everyone's just pretty much just, entering or exiting this trade for US 30. So we'll see how this plays out. Otherwise, I'm going to be looking for some scalps, even if we don't see any other trades. So nice. If this closes right here, guys, we actually have a scalp right here. So we have about 30 seconds left on this candle. I'll be taking a buy if it does close. Oh, crap, let me log into my MT4. Sorry, guys. I wasn't ready for this. I didn't think market was actually going to move. So we got about 20 seconds left on this candle right here. If this closes right here, this would be a buy entry for a US 30 scalp. So we got about 15 seconds. Let me log into my FTMO real quick. I'm in my FTMO. Let me just get this open real quick. All right, shit. So the entry is already available, guys. It's right here. Let me try to enter it real quick. If I could get into this. Try one click trading. All right, so I'm going to enter a little late. There we go. I entered this for a buy. So I'm currently in this buy position right here for for US 30, guys. There's a buy scalp here. The reason for this entry right here is that we have a rejection off the pivot and rejection off the structure right there. So there's actually two entries. It looks like we missed the one previous to it, but it's currently active, guys. So if you guys want to take it, I'm already in this trade. Let me see. I'm going to let it. My entry was a little off, just a little bit, but I'm in profit right now, about 20 bucks. Not too bad. Let me see what the price difference is right now for FTMO and for TradingView. So let's see, TradingView is 640. I mean, it's not a huge difference. 31,640. Sorry, let me see. 31,640 minus 31,628. So it's off by 12 pips, guys. It's not a huge difference. So I'm just going to go ahead and put these parameters in for mine. So I'm just going to subtract it by 12. So let's see, 31, 6, 8, 13 minus 12. It's not a huge difference. The TP is going to, for me, is going to be 31,608.01. And then my stop loss is going to be 31,583 minus 12. 31,571. All right. So looks pretty solid for the most part. I mean, the market's super slow, so I don't know how much it's going to move. But I would like to have a bullish bias here because I'll set my alerts here so we can follow it. But I did take the scalp, guys. So we're currently in profit. It's not doing too bad off that. Let's see, scalp number 1. TP. There we have. All right, so I have my alert set up right here. If it hits TP, it'll alert me. If it hits stop loss, obviously it'll alert me too. Other than that, yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see how this plays out. Obviously, there was a buy signal here as well for the daily entry, but it's not a valid buy because we have to take the signal after the opening candle. So we'll see how this plays out. What I'm hoping for is that we get an invalid sell followed by a valid buy, and then it'll continue the direction that we want it to push up from. But yeah, for the most part, it looks pretty decent right here. So I'm currently in this trade, guys, and we'll see how this plays out. Hey, morning, Vishnu. How's it going, bro? Nice. It's pushing up right here. It's probably going to break and close past the structure, and then we'll see how it ends up playing out from there. But I'm currently in this trade. Let me just send this to the premium guys as well. K2 US 30 scalp entry using the K2 snipe strategy. You know, like taking. All right, so I'm sending this link out to you guys over here in the premium so you guys can see what I took. And we'll keep watching. We'll just keep watching to see if this ends up playing out over here. I have my alert set up, obviously. So if you guys have questions, I can analyze anything else for you guys meanwhile. But this is pretty much all I see for now for US 30. Let me see if there's anything else over here as well. So let me scroll up real quick, see if I missed anything. Hey, Mary. Morning. Hey, morning, Merciba. Kristen's asking, can you explain your confluence for trades? So, I mean, depends on what I'm applying, Kristen. I mean, you know, it just depends on the strategy. If you want to figure out the strategies that I'm trading, just go on the website, K2trades.com right here and sign up for your free access on this page right here. I mean, it just depends on what you're looking for. You know, there's different confluences that we use, you know, depending if we're trading Forex on the 4-hour, we're obviously looking for the structures using the K2sr zones and the direction of momentum. And these are the bigger moves. So obviously for this, it's a different strategy in comparison to like something like US 30 for right here, scalping. For this, we're using the K2 pivots and the K2srs. And I mean, there's a bunch of different confluences. So it just really depends on what you want me to analyze, Kriston. If you have something specific that you want me to analyze, I can show you my analysis on it. But I mean, the confluences vary by trading strategy and by asset, depending on what we're trading. So if you could be more specific with your question, I mean, I can answer it. But yeah, I don't know exactly what you're looking for because I just went over a couple strategies. Earlier, I went over Euro USD. I used this analysis here where I use the K2sr structures, and then I use the K2 momentum signals to determine, you know, which direction to trade in. Vice versa, I over here scalped US 30. I use the K2 pivots here and looked for a rejection off the pivot and a rejection off the K2sr structure. With that said, we can take the scalp right here in that direction. This is the other scalp that we took yesterday. I mean, not yesterday, on Friday last week, where, you know, the same things have met. This candle right here, this green candle, rejected off the K2 pivot right here, and it rejected off the K2sr structure where we would have taken a buy signal here, obviously at full TP. The same thing we took right over here as well. So yeah, if you can be more specific with your question, Kriston, I can answer it. I'm just not sure what you're asking about because, you know, on top of this is the bare bone strategy. On top of that, we also look at sentiment as well. So obviously right here, 75% of people are short for US 30. We want to do the opposite of that. We're taking the long position here because generally price usually goes the opposite of where the majority of people are trading. So just keep that in mind. But I mean, there's a lot of things that we use in conjunction with our analysis, just what you're looking for. All right. Anyways, so let's see. So he mentioned, could you analyze UJ as well, please? Yeah. So let me pull up UJ for you guys. If you guys have any other questions, just put them in the chat and I can take a look. Obviously, today's going to be a short. Not short trading day. It's going to be a slow trading day because with the U.S. holiday going on. So I'm going to take everything off the chart here for UJ and I'll analyze it from scratch so you guys can see from this point. And looking at this, Kriston, you can see that these are the confluences that I use on the 4-hour. This is how I analyze things from scratch. I pretty much analyze everything this way. But depending on what strategy you're applying, I mean, there's different things to look at importance, with regard to what you're looking to enter. But anyways, here, I'm gonna draw my zones first for UJ. We have a zone down there. We have a zone right here. We have a zone right over here. We have a zone right here. Another one right there. And then one right here as well. And one last one right here. So once we have these zones drawn up, we also want a higher zone so we can see the ceiling, with regard to rejection points. So there's an 8-hour, nothing there. We go on the daily here. And you can see from this point, there's actually a lot of zones that are available from this point. So once I have these drawn up, I'm just going to go ahead and go back to the 4-hour. So these are the daily zones right here. But I'll go back to the 4-hour here. And it looks like price is currently within a zone right now. So just looking at USDJPY, I mean, obviously you can see I just drew these zones today right here on February 15th, but you can see that the same exact zoned area has been tested a long time. It's been tested back in November. It was tested back in October, September, August, July. So you can see that this same zone where price currently is within, it's a pretty strong zone because it's been tested so many times way back until like July of 2020. And then again back in March of 2020 over here as well. So the same zone's been tested time and time, like every other month or so, since March 2020. And it looks like, so let me just pull up the momentum indicator right here. Sorry, wrong indicator. There we go. It looks like we have a bullish bias right now for USDJPY, but like I mentioned, when price is within these zones, I don't like to trade within them because, there's just a lot that can happen from here, right? So for example, here we have this rejection off this structure. We have this buy signal here where it breaks and closes past the structure. Usually when this happens, it pushes up to the next structure right here, which is what happened, right? Again, right here, price broke structure off this candle. So at this point, price might push up and test this structure over here. But there's a lot of different ways to analyze this. Like for example, here you can see that price broke structure. So what could happen here is price can come down and retest the structure, right? For a break and retest pattern. So for example, here, price broke structure, it can retest the structure and then shoot back up. That's like one scenario. Scenario number two is that it can just have a small little retracement right here. And then it can push up to this point right here as well. Or price can go for a full reversal at this point. Price can just come back down right here. And then if we get a sell signal right here, then you can take this sell for a short position down here to this next structure over here for about 50 pips, right? So there's a lot of different things that can play out here for UJ. It's not necessarily something that I really would want to be taking right now because just for the fact that it's just a risky trade, right? There's a lot of different things that can play out here. Price can either come down from this point and reverse, or price can still come back up from this point. You can just go straight up from here, or I may come down slightly before skyrocketing back up. There's just too many different ways for things to play out here. So there's a difference here. It just really depends on what you're looking for here. But it varies. There's two different scenarios that can play out here, and we'll look at the IG sentiment to see where everyone's trading. So let's see real quick. Let me pull this up here. So let me pull up the IG sentiment for USDJPY just to see where everyone's trading. So So right now, UJ is 61% of people are long. So majority of people are long. So this might come down actually. I think the odds of this coming down are more likely than it going up. So I think at this point right here, this might come down from this point. But obviously we won't be looking for sells until we have that sell signal. So there's no sell signal here. So we still have a bullish bias because the most recent signal right here was a buy signal. So obviously, break in structure, push up to the structure, but now it's in a new structure. So this can easily reverse from this point because you can see that the same strategy works both ways. Like for example, over here, I'll show you how it goes both ways. For down here, we have the rejection off this point. We have the buy signal right here. We have a break in structure right here. And it pushed up above here, or we had another break in structure. And then it pushes up higher from here. And then once it reaches this point, it does the complete opposite, but the same confirmations. Rejection from that point, sell signal right here, breaking close past structure right here, and then it just comes dropping back down from here, right? So we can go both ways. I mean, it doesn't have to go one way or the other. You just want to wait for that confirmation. If this ends up rejecting off this point and then we get a sell signal. Sorry, someone just joined the room. I had to push that. All right, so like same thing right here. See the rejection? It's the same pattern. If we get a sell signal, then we could look for a sell. Vice versa, if there's no sell signal, we just keep looking for the buy. But right now, obviously we have a buy bias. If this ends up swinging down this direction and then we have a sell signal, then we'll look for a sell. But I mean, currently at this time, we're still looking for a buy until that signal appears. And there's about 3 hours left in this candle. Keep in mind that it is a US holiday, so we're probably not going to see very much movement until then. But once we do, we'll be able to analyze it a little bit further. But at this time, I mean, UJ is just indecisive at this point until we get that confirmation. All right, anyways, let me go ahead and take a look at anything else over here. Let's go back to US 30. So this is still active right here. I mean, it's right at entry point. There's like really no reason for us to really be like focused on it because it's just going to keep bouncing around until volatility picks up. Obviously, during the entire London session, it barely moved at all right here. So from London open over here to down here, it's only moved like 300 pips, which is like, it's nothing. It's literally like a snail movement for US 30, which is, not normal for this specific pair because usually it moves pretty quick. Like for example, here on Friday, it moves like thousands of pips, right? During a US session. But for right now, it's barely moving because the market's technically closed due to the holiday. But we're still in the scalp right here. I'll leave it alone and I'll look at other things for now until movement starts to pick up for this specific pair. So let me check the chat real quick, see if there's anything else here before we continue. Here, let's see. So let's see over here. Live through my lens. Good morning. Good morning, live through my lens. Here, let's see over here. Anything else? So I'm gonna go down the list, guys. So I'm gonna go from the top and I'm gonna scroll down and then see exactly, what we are looking for over here as we continue. So let's see what else we have next. We have next person here is, sorry guys, I'm looking for who else is here. All right, so Jacob said, which currency is Shawn trading? US 30. Thanks for answering that, Slava. Kirsten said, can you look at gold? So let me pull up gold for you guys real quick. So we've got gold over here. I'm gonna zoom everything out. So I'm just gonna analyze this from scratch again. And then we'll see, what we're looking at from this point over here. All right. So this is for Kirsten. So Kirsten, I'm gonna look at gold for you right now. Sorry, I'm getting like mixed up in these messages here because there's so many messages in the chat. So yeah, looking at gold here. First thing I do, so here's the naked chart. This is what the chart looks like from this point. The next thing we do from here is we turn on the K2sr indicator, and then we'll draw from this point over here. So we got that right there. Got that right there. Got that right there. That zone right there. And there's a bigger zone down here. So when there's a big zone like this, it's kind of, you know, it's a little bit harder for us to really look at. This one over there. And then let's see this over here real quick. So yeah, looking at gold over here, I'm going to turn on the momentum indicator. So right here, obviously we have a sell bias right here as we, you know, continue at this point. So looking at this over here, let me look at the rejection points. So we have a sell bias because obviously the most recent signal was a sell over here. And so we have the rejection off this structure. Let's see where it started from. So it started from here. I mean, I guess this is a rejection off this area over here. And then we have the sell signal right here. But it looks like it's just going sideways for the most part. You know, for the most part, it doesn't really look like gold is really moving too much. So let me just zoom out from this point. I'm just trying to analyze this from a different perspective because, you know, we had a buy signal here. It rejected off this point. We have a sell signal. So it looks like it's just stuck within the structure right here. So it might just go sideways from this point. You know, like I mentioned, when I look at the dollar index over here, the dollar index is still in the middle. It's trying to push in between. So currently right here, looks like this ends up, let me just move this over here real quick. I'm checking something over here real quick before we continue on. So yeah, looking at the dollar index right here, like I mentioned, we're waiting for this to close and break above the structure right here, right? Or not the structure, the pivot. So it hasn't closed and broken above here yet. So it hasn't really confirmed if the dollar index is starting to push upwards. So it's just going sideways for the most part right now, with it just going this way. So looking at the dollar index over here, it's just going sideways. And looking at gold over here, that's pretty much what's happening here, right? It's just going sideways because there just really isn't really any confirmation of the direction of price. So just looking at this from this point, I mean, until this closes above, if this ends up closing above, then we'll probably see this continue to drop further. But vice versa, if this ends up, you know, going back from here and rejecting off this pivot, then we'll probably see gold go up in the other direction. So it just looks like it's pretty much going sideways for the most part right here. But let me see how this ends up playing out from here. So looking at gold from this point, I mean, it's just really hard to tell because, you know, with the market volatility so low, we won't really know if it's going to be pushing up or down from this point. So we would want some sort of confirmation. In order for me to take a sell here, I mean, we do have the rejection from this point, and then we have the sell bias right here, but I wouldn't want to trade within this zoned area because it's just going to go sideways, right? What I'd be looking for is for price to close below here. And then when it does, you know, obviously we take the short position from there. Similar to what happened over here. Whenever price broke structure, we can write it down to the next structure down there for about 100 pips or so. I probably wouldn't trade it if it came above here, but it just looks like gold is just pretty much ranging within these two areas right here. So if I take off this middle zone right here for gold, so we zoom out from here. If I take out this middle zone, you can see that price is just ranging within this zone right here. It comes up to this area. And it's just bouncing within these two areas right here, right? Obviously, I'll leave these zones here so you guys can see. But it looks like whenever price reaches into these areas right here, it just goes sideways until it breaks. So like, for example, here, it goes sideways, breaks above, goes sideways. It fails to break below here, and it just keeps going sideways from this point until, you know, it breaks above or below. Otherwise, right here, so with price, if this ends up, you know, closing above here, we could take a buy. If it closed below here, we'll take a sell. But I mean, currently right now, it's not something that I would trade, Kirsten, or whoever is looking at gold right now. We could even look at it from a short-term scalp perspective, or we could go on the 30-minute actually. It's probably better to look at it from there. So if we're looking at gold here on the 30-minute, right over here. Sorry, let me check my messages. My Telegram's getting blown up right now. So Ollie, I see your question. I'll respond to you in a little bit. But I mean, currently right now, there just isn't, I'm gonna be more focused on this live stream. So let me see, I just have a bunch of messages here. Let me just get through these real quick to make sure I'm not missing anything. Over here. All right, cool. Yeah, all right, cool. So let me just go ahead and take a look at this over here real quick, and then we'll see what we saw from this point. Sorry guys, I'm just getting a bunch of messages on Telegram real quick. So let me just make sure I get this real quick before we continue. All right, so yeah, just looking at gold right here. So let's see if there's any scalps here that were available. So it looks like there was a sell scalp that was available here on the 30-minute. So if you do analyze this from this point, there's no buys right here. Obviously, there's no rejection off those points, but we do have a sell entry that's available here for gold. If you were trading this about 5 o'clock, so about 2 hours ago, if you guys were looking at gold, I mean, obviously there was an entry right here that you could have taken. So if we close this right here, there's a sell signal right there that was available. Sweet spot for this is, I forgot what we mentioned for gold. It's about I think it was 200, I think. I don't trade gold, so I wouldn't really know exactly what the range would be. I'm assuming it's between 200 and 250, maybe 250, because 200 looks kind of close. So maybe 250 here for gold. And if that was the case, I mean, obviously it would hit full TP right there. So that would have been the entry for gold if you guys decided to scalp it. I think your options are probably better scalping gold rather than taking the longer positions right now, because obviously the market's just moving sideways due to the US holiday over here. So that's pretty much the only entry that I see there for gold. I don't think there was anything else from that point. Yeah. So yeah, since this morning, that's pretty much it. So obviously it has a sell bias. I mean, it lines up with this entry over here because we do have the sell signal right here, and looking for, sell scalps right here. Obviously this would be the most recent entry. There's actually another entry right now, actually, or no, actually not, because the zone's right here. So if I draw these zones, there's one zone above here, and then there's one zone about below here. I was checking if this was an entry, but this wouldn't be an entry right here because price is rejecting off the pivot, but it's not rejecting off the structure at this point. So that's pretty much it for there. Obviously the last signal was going to be right here if you took this at 5 a.m. If we go on the 10-minute over here, we can check this real quick to see if there was any other entries on this point. And there was another sell entry right here as well in the 10-minute. So it just depends on, what time frame you were scalping on. But if you were scalping on here, so there's one right there, and then there's, let's see, another one down here. No entry. So the only entry would have been right here as well. See if we hold this off right there. Yeah, same thing again right here. There's a couple entries off here. There's this green one, there's this red one, and there's this other red one right here. So there's three different entries you could have taken since market open right here at 6:30, the New York Stock Exchange. If you were to take any of these trades, I don't know what the sweet spot would be. I mean, probably be the same, about 200 pips, I'm assuming, or maybe less, maybe 150. So you're trading on the short time frame. But if you were to scalp this on here, obviously this would, man, I hate how we get these scammers in the group. Let's see, we got, try to delete these every time I see them. All right, so I deleted that scammer. So yeah, if you took this trade here, depending on what your TP stop loss would be, if it's 150, I mean, that would have been fine. This technically would still be active right here. So this is pretty much what I see for gold right now. I mean, technically there's still a sell scalp that's active right now. The reason for that is because this red candle right here rejected off the pivot and rejected off the structure. So with that said, there's currently one active sell scalp for gold if you were taking this. And I'd probably just focus on these shorter time frames for now, guys, especially during a time like this when volatility is low. It's probably easier for you to just scalp within here than for you to necessarily take these specific trades in the other direction. So yeah, I mean, it just really depends on what you're looking for, right? If you're looking at gold right here, I wouldn't look at it from a bigger perspective right here because it's not really moving. It's just going sideways. But if we looked at it from the 30-minute, there's a scalp entry right there that was available that would have hit full TP. And then there's another scalp entry over here that would have, it's technically, this would have hit full TP. And then this one over here would have been active right now currently. So that's it for gold. Let me keep scrolling down real quick and then we'll see what we see over here as we continue further. So that's pretty much my analysis for gold, guys. I don't really see much going on for gold right now, not on the higher time frame, but on the shorter time frame, there's obviously some scalps running that, that would be available if you decided to take these scalps here on the 10-minute. So let me check over here real quick and see if there's anything else. Rizal wants me to take a look at silver. So that's it for gold right there. Now we'll look at silver. So looking at silver over here. So I'll analyze this on the higher time frame first, just like I mentioned. I'll do like a top-down analysis for you guys, so you guys can see, if there's no entries on the higher time frame, you could always go down and scalp. So for example, here we're going to go ahead and draw our zones for silver. Let's see. Sorry guys, people keep joining the Zoom, so I have to pause to admit them in. So if I take a pause, that's because I'm letting people into the Zoom meeting. But other than that, let's see. So we have this right here. We have this right here. The reason why I drew this big zone is because it engulfs these smaller zones. We have another zone right here. That right there. And then another one right over here. So let me just go through my, sorry guys, I'm going to take a break from this real quick. I have a bunch of messages here for, on the side. I just want to let everybody know that I'm not able to answer these right now. Let me just let everybody know real quick. Yeah, sorry, if you guys are messaging me on Telegram, I'm not going to be able to get to you guys right now. I'm just going to be responding to these people real quick, just to let them know. Because people keep messaging me on these other platforms, which I'm not monitoring right now. And I don't want to seem like I'm ignoring you guys. It's just that we are looking over here. Let's see this real quick. All right, yeah, no, it looks like we're good from this point. So I think that's about it for there. Let me go back to silver over here. So just analyzing silver on the 4-hour again. Let me go ahead and show you guys right here real quick. So Joel, entry on there. So looking at silver right here, we have the zones drawn right here. We probably would want the higher zones as well, just to determine, where the rejection points are if it breaks above. So nothing on the 4-hour, 8-hour over here. So the next zone is going to be over here. Turn this off from this point. Turn on the momentum indicator right here. So looking right here, we have obviously we have a bullish bias because the most recent signal was a buy signal. We'll go ahead and draw this from this point. So we have the rejection off this structure right here. We have the buy signal right here. I personally wouldn't take this until it breaks above here. And the reason for that is because the sentiment's really high for bullish, right? So if price breaks above here, then this is going to confirm that it's going to be a bullish move. But I looked at the sentiment earlier today when I was talking to Braden. So the sentiment for silver is 89% bullish, right? So you really don't want to be trading in the direction of everybody else, because odds are it's probably going to go in the other direction. So at this point right here, we have a bullish bias, but it's currently at this structure. So once it reaches this structure right here, looking at this structure right here, obviously, if this ends up dropping from this point, if there is a rejection off this point, I mean, there can be a sell signal. So just looking at this point here, I mean, there's so many buyers that price is probably not going to push up that high. It's probably going to reject off this point, or if it does push up a little higher, it can push up to this point right here, and then it can reject off this point right here as well. There's like a lot of areas here where it can reject off. There's just not just one area where it can reject off. So, I mean, currently we have a bullish bias because we have the buy signal here, but from this point, I mean, there's just too many people that are buying right now, right? You definitely wouldn't want to just enter buys just because this can easily reject off this point and just come crashing down. But I mean, it really depends, because the DXY right here, it still hasn't, it's the same thing we've been looking at right here. We're still waiting for it to break and close past this pivot over here. Until that happens, there's probably not going to be very much movement for the dollar. But if that does happen and it breaks below it, breaks above it, indicates that the dollar is strong. If that indicates that the dollar is strong, this will probably drop from this point. But same with the gold analysis. There's just really not much to look at on the higher time frame. So what I'll do is I'll go down to the shorter time frame, like 30-minute, and see if there was any scalps that were available here. So looking at this point over here, if we go off this point over here, just looking over here. So let's see, we see some rejection points over here for silver. Braden said, how'd you know I was in here? Yeah, no, Braden, definitely. I was looking at this earlier too, because I know we were trying to apply your strategy, your strategy where you want to do the opposite. But just looking at this point here, so if you took these trades off, let's see, so the market opened right here on the 14th. So there's actually a bunch of buy entries that were available over here as we continued on. So like, we're going to disregard any trades from like last week, because obviously that's when the market is moving different. I mean, it doesn't matter, because if you took these trades from last week as well, I mean, there's more entries that were available. These aren't the only entries. So if I draw another zone down here, I mean, we can go all the way back from last week if you guys really wanted to look at these scalps, but there's really no point. So just looking at this here, market opened here on the 14th. Looks like there was, I don't know, a possible entry right here. So we have the rejection off the pivot right there, buy signal. So if you were to take that trade right there, that obviously would have hit full TP, because we have the, see this. Delete that right there. Yeah, so for example, right here, we have this right here where it reject off the pivot. I mean, there's another one down here as well. There's one down here, one right here. If you took either of these trades for a long position, I mean, they both would have hit TP. This would have hit full TP right there. And then again, right here, if you took this rejection off this structure right there, this would have been full TP right there as well, right? So those are two entries that happen right there. And if we keep moving forward, I mean, there's a bunch right here. There's another one right here where price rejected off this structure over here. And then this would have been, this would have hit stop, or I don't know, depends on what your TP was, because this is on the 30-minute. I don't trade silver, so I don't know what the sweet spot would be. I don't know if this is too close. If 400 is too close, I mean, it seems like it might be, because generally, I mean, for gold, I think it was like 250, right? So if 250 is the same for silver, which, I just, like I mentioned, I don't trade silver, so I don't know what the sweet spot would be. It'd either be around the same as gold, or most of the time we put the stop loss at the middle of the pivots right here down the middle. So like if this happens right here, I mean, this would still be active. And then, yeah, this would technically still be an active trade off this point. So I don't know what the sweet spot is for silver, because it's not something that I trade. But if you were to scalp any of these trades here, I mean, this would technically still be active. I mean, maybe it'd be 200. I think 250 might be too high. But even if it was 200, it would still be technically active right here. If this was 200 right here, this would have hit TP. And then there's a bunch of different entries right here as well. So there's another entry, let's see. Like right here, this is another entry, especially with this green and this red. Looks like they'd be in some, yeah, so this would be in some drawdown right now. I mean, no, technically push up. So it came down close to a stop loss, but it didn't trigger it. It just shot right back up. So this is technically still active, even if you took this trade. But there's so many here that you could have taken, right? There's like one right there. There's like one right here. There's, let me check. One right there, and then there's another one right here. So just depending on where you took these trades, there's a whole bunch of buys right here. The one right here, one right here, two right here, a couple right here, which probably would have hit CP at that point. And then all of these that pushed up from this point as well. So depending on how you're trading, you know, silver or gold or any of that, there's a bunch of entries here. Other than that, I think I mean, currently right now, there's nothing that's available. But if you took any of these later entries, I mean, they still would be active right now. If you took this green candle, this would have been active right there. And then same with this one right here. This would be active right now, both in profit. So that's pretty much what we see from that point. Let me see if there's anything else here for silver. We can go on the shorter time frame, the 10-minute over here. So if we're looking at silver over here, here, let me see. So we'll go back over here to silver, and we'll see if there's any entries here for silver. If you're scalping on even the shorter time frame on the 10-minute, it just depends on what you're trading on, right? You know, I'm doing a top-down analysis. We went from the 4-hour. There's not really much movement there. We went on the 30-minute, and there was a bunch of entries here. And then now looking at the 10-minute over here, it looks like there was some entries here as well. Here, let me see. So yeah, if you're looking at the entries here for silver, it looks like there was no entries until we reached like some point up here. So if you were to take these trades over here on this end, it looks like we have a, let's see, we have a rejection off this point right here. So rejects off the pivot, rejects off the structure. So if you took this buy entry here, sweet spot would probably be about 150. Or maybe 100. It looks like 150 might be too far down. Maybe 100 looks like the better sweet spot for silver on the 10-minute. So if that was the case, I mean, this would have hit TP right there. And then there's a couple other entries right here as well for this red and green candle right here. So something off that right there. There's another one right here. And that would have hit full TP. And then again over here, there's a whole bunch. I mean, there's one right there. That's a win. That would have been a win. That would have been a win, et cetera, et cetera. And this probably would have been a loss. I mean, you know, obviously there's no strategy that's 100%. There's going to be losses from time to time. But like, let's see if this right here. So this would have been a stop loss. And you guys are familiar with, you know, obviously if we have a stop loss in one direction, I don't trade in that direction anymore. We wait for the next entry. But just looking at current price right now, it looks like there's another entry that's, you know, becoming available here. There's one for this green candle. And then there's one right here for this red candle right here as well. So there's two entries right here that are technically available. Looks like this one right here would have been a decent entry for silver, which is still active, like right below entry. And then again, right here, if this candle ends up closing in the next 10 seconds, it would be, you know, obviously another entry right there. So there's a couple entries for silver, but like I mentioned, the sentiment for silver is like way too high. It's 89% long. So I personally wouldn't really want to take a long position because this can easily spike down at any point and then stop you out. But I mean, if you want to take that risk, it still runs, you know, you can go ahead and try that out if you like to. But yeah, going back to US 30 over here, let's check our US 30 scalp to see how it's doing. It's currently in profit. It's looking pretty decent so far. Right over there. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. So let me go down real quick and see what else we're looking at over here. Let me go down the chat. So looks like you guys have been talking a lot since I was looking at the last pair. So we looked at silver. Yes, I looked at silver for you, Razul. Next up, we have manifest work. Hi, what do you think about OddCAD? So let me pull up OddCAD. So I see that there's a bunch of messages. I'll get down to you guys soon. I mean, obviously I'm going down the list, so I'm not able to see everything right now. But just looking at OddCAD right here, I'll take everything off the chart, delete that off, zoom out from this point, turn on the K2sr indicator, and I'll do the same thing I've been doing this whole time. I'm gonna go and draw my zones first. So we'll draw our upper zone right here. Draw my upper zone right here. And let's go through these pretty quickly, guys, because it looks like there's a ton of messages I got to get to in the chat before we continue on over here. All right, so just looking at OddCAD right here. I mean, obviously it's rejecting off this structure right here. We'll pull out the momentum indicator. So we have a sell momentum right here, obviously. So we have a sell bias. We have the rejection off this right here. We have the sell signal right here. And then now it's rejecting off this point. I personally wouldn't take OddCAD until it breaks way below here, because the last thing you want to do is enter and then there's a reversal that happens, right? Because looking at OddCAD, I mean, obviously it has a bullish bias, but we do have a sell signal right here. The only problem with you wanting to enter a trade off this point right here is that this can reject off this point here. It can reject off this point right here, this point here, or this point down here. I mean, there's a lot of areas where price can reject off. So in order for me to be confident with this trade, I would want this to close like way below here before I take it. I'm going to look at the index for the Aussie. So we'll look at the Aussie index first, and we'll look at the Canadian index next. Zoom out from this point right there. So these are, I mean, they're both bullish right now, right? So if they're both bullish, the Aussie index and the Canadian index, this is probably just going to go sideways. We're probably not going to see much movement off this right here. So I personally wouldn't take this trade. Let's see who asked for this manifest for OddCAD, because I mean, in general, OddCAD is a slow moving pair anyways. And with both of these indexes going up, like if the Aussie index is strong and the Canadian index is also strong, this is just going to go sideways until one becomes stronger than the other, right? So if this ends up continuing up and then this index comes down from this point, then we could probably see this pushing upwards. You know, vice versa, if this ends up coming down and this ends up going up, then we could see OddCAD drop from this point, right? But I mean, currently at this specific point in time, there's just not much movement in the market, especially with the US holiday. You know, looking at both of the indexes right here, the Aussie index and the Canadian index over here, I mean, they're both going up. So it's not something that I would trade because it's not directional at all right now. It's kind of just going sideways. So this is probably just going to go sideways for a bit in between this structure and this structure until something happens pushing price, you know, above or below. So for example, if it pushes above, I'll take a buy. If it pushes below here, I'll take a sell. But I think currently right now, there's just not really much to look at for OddCAD right now. See how much it's moved in the past 2 hours. It's only moved about 11 pips, not very much. So I would, you know, I would possibly just hold off on this for the most part. There's just not really much to really take from here. Yeah, I mean, there's not really much here to really look at because obviously it's just going sideways. It's only moved a few pips. I mean, it's not really much for you to really look at unless you want to go on the shorter time frames. Like, you know, like I mentioned, if we go on the 30-minute over here, we can see if there's any scalps, but I don't really scalp OddCAD. It's just a slow moving pair. So yeah, just looking at OddCAD right here. I mean, the most recent entry would have been, yeah, it doesn't look like there was any entries over here. Because I mean, this rejects off the pivot, but it doesn't, I mean, technically it rejects off the structure. So if you were like following this really closely, you might've taken this trade if you were watching it, but I mean, I probably wouldn't take it because it's too close. This is the most recent, you know, possible entry, but I mean, it's just too close. Like I would want it to close like farther below the structure in order for me to take that. Obviously, I mean, it would be a win, but it's not something that I really would take because it's just, you know, it's a risky trade to take off this. So looking at this right here, I mean, obviously this would be an entry for a sell if you were decided to take it, but it's not something that I would have taken. And it's, I mean, it's a nice scalp. If you're scalping it on the 30-minute, it'd probably be like a 15 pip move, which would have hit CP at that point. But it's not something that I necessarily would be looking on the higher time frame. It's just going sideways at this point. Our US 30 is looking good. It's currently in profit right now for that scalp. But yeah, just looking at OddCAD right here. There's just not really much to look at until, you know, there's more volatility that picks up, probably by Asia session. All right, let me see if there's anything else over here. Here, let's see. All right, so let me scroll up real quick. I mean, there's a lot of messages going through the chat that I'm not really looking at right now. But let me just scroll down from this point. So that's pretty much it for OddCAD. Let's see. Samurai said UJ 15-minute double top with the doji breakout could be worth a look. So let's go back to UJ that we were looking at earlier. UJ right here. So like I mentioned, it's just pretty much going sideways for the most part. I think Samurai mentioned UJ on the 15-minute. So I'll just pull up UJ on the 15-minute real quick, and then I'll just see what he was referring to. For UJ, he mentioned that there was a double top. Let's see, 15-minute double top for UJ. Let's see. So there's no zones up here, but let me just check the higher time frames to see if there was an upper zone there that we could possibly look at. Man, I just don't like trading during slow markets. It's kind of like frustrating just waiting for these trades to appear. So I mean, it looks like there is a zone right here on the daily, but I'll go back on the 15-minute, see if it lines up. Let's see. Last time I said UJ 15-minute double top with doji breakout could be worth a look. So I don't really see a double top here. I mean, so like, for example, here, there's a rejection from this point. Oh, I guess you're talking about this right here, right? The small little rejection. I guess you could see this as a double top. Or a tweezers, I guess. I mean, there's different types of ways to call this. But yeah, looks like, I mean, this area right here looks like it would be a zone, right? It was a fake out, broke structure, faked out, came down, came up for a retest. Basically like a break and retest where price broke structure, or it broke structure in this direction. So broke structure, came down, retested, and then possible drop from this point, right? So if we look at that, I mean, yeah, I could see this happening right here, Samurai. But I mean, looking on the higher time frame, I mean, it's just stuck within this area right here. If we look at the dollar index, so let's pull up UJ here. We have the DXY right there, and we have the JXY right here. Yeah, I mean, they're both trying to push up. Looks like the dollar index is still trying to push above those pivots right there. It still hasn't done it yet. And then same with the JXY right here. I mean, it was bearish, but then it's going sideways, and it looks like it's trying to shift up from this point right here. So if these both shift up from this point, I mean, they're both trying to make the same move for a bullish, transition for both the dollar index and the Japanese index. If these are both trying to push up, then I'll probably see UJ just going sideways for the most part, until it goes opposite of each other. So just looking here on the 15-minute, I mean, yeah, we could possibly see this as something that's going to move in either direction. I mean, it's probably just going to go sideways from here. And then until like one of these strengthens, if the dollar index ends up pushing above it, or if the Japanese index ends up dropping from this point, then we could probably see this shoot up, right? Sorry, this one over here. Yeah, we see this shoot up. If this ends up happening where the dollar index pushes up, which it looks like it's doing, it's trying really hard to break above this pivot. If that happens, and this comes down, then we can see this go up. I mean, vice versa. If we see this go down, and then we see this go up for the JXY over here, then we could see the opposite. This can drop from that point downwards, right? So, I mean, there's a lot of different scenarios that can play out for UJ. It's just, they're both trying to push up right now. If they're both bullish, then it's just going to go sideways for a bit until they end up going opposite of each other. So I'd probably hold off on UJ. But yeah, I can see what you're looking at here. It's a nice resistance above here. And if I turn on the momentum indicator, I mean, obviously it's a pending sell until that closes. If that closes, then it might be a nice sell. Because if that happens right there, we have the rejection off this structure. If we have a sell signal here, it'll probably push from this point down to here, right? So I could see that happening. But I mean, for me personally, it's not something that I necessarily want to take. It just seems too risky for me at this point. So let's go back to US 30. It looks pretty decent right here. It's still pushing up at that point over there. Other than that, here, let's see. Let me scroll down over here. So yeah, that's pretty much it for UJ. Jack mentioned, what do you think about City Traders Imperium? So I've never heard of that, Jack. I've never heard of that company or that group. So I don't really have an opinion on them. Sorry. Let's see. Harry said, hi, Shawn. This is my first message here, but I'm observing you last month or so. I found that you lie a lot about your mentorship. All right. What do I lie about, Harry? I mean, I don't know how much more transparent I could be for you. I call these trades here for you and I show you everything that happens after that. Harry said, like on Friday, you took a short instead of a long, but now you're showing just long trade. Look, Harry, I don't know if you were listening to what I was saying. I mentioned that this is the entry. I looked at the previous entry. This is the previous entry, right? I didn't say that this is the only entry. Obviously, there's sell entries right here. I mean, use your brain, bro. There's a sell right here, which I did take, and it hit TP right here, right? Because I was going for 300 pips. And if you want me to show you my profits off that, I can. So, I mean, obviously, guys, we're going to get like dumb people in the group like that have something to say about whatever. But I'll show you my profits for that specific trade, okay? Just so that you can see here. And I think I even posted this in the group as well. So I'm pretty sure you're probably not on the premium because you're just here talking like whatever. But here, I'll show you on all my accounts right here, like when I took that trade, or I'll just show you one account. It doesn't matter which account to show you because they all copy the same trade. So it just really wouldn't matter for that. So if I just show you here, let me just post this in the messages over here real quick. I mean, it's funny because we always get people like this in the group that always want to talk BS. Obviously, if you guys were following my analysis earlier, I said that this was the entry here, and I said the most recent entry was over here, right? Which, am I wrong? This is the most recent entry. It was a buy entry and it hit TP. We also had a sell entry here that I did take, which I did hit. I had one that hit and I had one that lost. There was two that I took here. One that hit that we didn't take. I mean, that we took that lost for a little bit, and then we had one that went. So I'll just show you the screenshot here for that trade. Let's see. So if you go here to the messages, I did take that sell and I did hit TP right there, right? Obviously right there on the 12th, TP, right? It looks blue to me. So I did hit TP off that. We did take this other trade, which we did lose, but I did take both of them. But I mean, I don't know if you were confused with what I was saying here, but I mentioned that this was the current entry and this was the most recent entry. There's nothing else that happened between that, right? So, I mean, I don't know what you were trying to talk about right there. But yeah, I mean, people complain about everything, bro. Like, I mean, there's something like if I hit TP, someone's going to complain. If I hit stop loss, someone's going to complain. There's always one person that complains. I mean, if you have to have trader in your name to show people that you're a trader, I mean, that explains enough in itself. Like, I don't have to put Shawn Trader in my name to prove that I'm a trader to you guys. But I mean, obviously there's losing trades here, right? There's a trade here that I took, which, obviously hit TP. I showed you right there that hit TP on the 12th. And obviously, I mean, there's losses that happen. I don't show you guys just wins. If you go down the list here, there's losses here. Eric has some losses, right? There's losses there. And then there's losses right there too. Like, I mean, I don't know what you're talking about, bro. If you say we never show losses, there's losses here. There's red, right? Some people have better days than others. Look, Rami over here has all these wins and one loss, all these wins. And if you want to look at my trades as well, I have losses here as well, right? These are my trades here, right? From February 10th up until February 11th, I have losses and I have wins. I don't just show wins. So I don't know what you're talking about when you said we only show wins. I have losses, I have wins. They both go both ways, but I always end up, with profit. So, I mean, I don't know what you guys are even talking about or what Harry's trying to talk about here. Yeah, why are you still here, bro? If you want to complain about something, I mean, there's losses here, right? There was one trade here that was a win. There was another trade that we took here that was a loss. I mean, it goes both ways. Market was choppy on Friday, so we only took a couple trades. I took one loss and I took one win. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. I know, Harry, you're coming on pretty salty, but like, just like what Sam was saying, like I'm completely transparent with you guys. I call these trades live. I show you the profits after the trades are taken. And I mean, I don't know what else to show you guys. I mean, I don't know however transparent I can be with you. You can go back and watch any replay. And like Harry even said that I don't take stacks, right? I do take stacks, bro. Like, look at these trades here. I don't understand. How did I not take these stacks if these trades were taking? So this was taken at 2 minutes, right? 2:02. This is taken at 2:05. So are these not stacked if I took them within like a 5-minute difference? I don't know. Some people are just, people just want to complain about stuff. And it doesn't affect me because regardless, I mean, I have days and days of profits here from everybody, Harry. It doesn't matter what you say because everyone is profiting here. If you're the only person that's profiting, that's probably because you suck at trading, bro. Like, obviously, everyone here, I guess, these are all fake profits then? Because these are all different people. Mark here, profit. Jonathan here, profit. Small loss. Spencer here, profit. So I don't know if these are all fake to you. I don't know what to tell you, really. But I mean, I don't care, guys, whatever. Jeremy over here, look, she has some losses, but she had overall like profit. There's no strategy that's 100%. There's going to be wins or losses. And sorry if you misinterpreted what I said earlier. I mentioned that this right here was, okay. Harry said, anyway, Shawn, I need not waste my time on you. I was just saying be fully transparent and stop saying stack all trades on. I never said that to stack all trades. I said to stack all trades if the market conditions are good. If price is trending heavy, then you stack trades. If price isn't heavy, like if price is choppy like this, you're not going to stack trades, right? Well, why would you stack a trade like that? Harry said, I just stopped messaging today just because today. All right, Harry, I guess so. So I guess we'll see you never. So yeah, go ahead and I don't know, bro. I don't know what else to tell you guys. Like, I always just find this so funny when people come into the room, they just want to talk shit. And then I just proved exactly what they were saying, Yeah. Okay. Whatever. Well, yeah, back to our trades. But yeah, see you later, Harry. I mean, I don't know what you're trying to prove, Harry, because like obviously there's trades in both directions here. I even showed you my trades right here. If like these weren't scalps, I can, let me go back to the save messages, or actually, no, I'll go back to my trades here. So if you look at my trades here, you can see the timestamps on them, right? These are like right after each other. But yeah, I'm done explaining myself, guys. I just wanted to show you guys that, see these trades right here? These are stacks, but I lose one trade and I win one trade. So I took one trade here at 1920, it's a win. I took one trade at 1930, 10 minutes later, and it's a loss. And I take another trade right here a little later, and it's a full win to cover that loss. So, I mean, whatever, guys. I'm not gonna waste my time with like dealing with stuff like that, because obviously we're here to make profits. I'm here to share you my trades with you guys and be as transparent as possible. But I mean, I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Anyways, we're just waiting for US 30 here to hit TP, and I'll just scroll up and I'll see what else is going on before I continue on with this. But yeah, I don't know. I just found that really funny. I just want to see his other message here. He said, your method is good, but please don't lure new traders in by showing P&Ls of your subscribers. How are all of you making profits? It's impossible. I guess it's impossible for everyone to make profits with trading, right? But I guess these are all fake profits here, because I could go back from February. Let me go back to like January 5, a random date. Jet over here with some profits. Let me go to like January 16 right here, right? Josh over here, profits. Let me go back to I just find this hilarious, guys, because like people always want to like come and talk about stuff, but I mean, results speak for themselves. Like, I don't even have to show my own profits, and this is actually better that I don't show my profits, because I could show you my profits here, and I hit profits too. It's not just the traders, like the K2 members that are hitting profits. It's me too. But I mean, yeah, whatever. I'm not going to waste my time on it. Let's get back to these trades. So our US 30 right here is still in profit. It looks pretty decent so far. Otherwise, let's see if I missed anything here. So sorry, guys, if I missed your question. If I missed your question, guys, just put it back in the chat, because it looks like it was pretty much spammed right here with a lot of these side conversations that were going on. But here, I'm going to go through these real quick. Let's see. Famous over here. Famous mentioned. Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to. There was just a lot of messages as from there. Okay, so Famous said USD CAD looks like it's approaching demand. What would you do if it reaches demand if you see a reversal pattern? So Famous, let me pull up USD CAD for you guys. So I mean, that was just a fun little sidebar that we just went over there. But I mean, it doesn't matter, guys. If you guys want to, if you guys want to take my trades and take them, if not, then that's cool with me, because I'm still going to keep taking these trades. But looking at USD CAD right here, I'll just analyze it from scratch, Famous. So I'll take everything off the chart. Here's our naked chart right here. and then we'll turn on the K2srs, and I'll just analyze this really quick because I know that there's a bunch of questions that I might have missed, and I don't want to waste your guys' time, and I want to make sure that I'm able to answer all your questions. So let me just pull this down right here. This is a big zone because they overlap. So it's just one big zone right there. We have this right here as well. We have this right here as well. That right there. And then we have this right here. All right, cool. So Famous, just looking at USD CAD right here, you mentioned that it's reaching supply, right? I mean, or demand, you mentioned. Okay, demand. So just looking at USD CAD, you know, I personally don't trade supply and demand. I don't think supply and demand works for currencies because, or not currencies in general, it does, like if you're trading the index, but for Forex pairs like this, there isn't really supply and demand because it's just one currency paired against the other, right? So there's never really like an overbought area or an oversold area. It's just whatever currency is stronger than the other, it'll move in that direction. So just looking at this here, I'm gonna turn on the momentum indicator. So currently right here, we have a sell signal. And then just in analyzing this from the way that I look at it, you know, we have the rejection from this point up here. We have the sell signal right here. We have a breaking close path structure right here. So like, I think I analyzed this for someone last night during the weekly chart analysis. But yeah, for example, here we have price, it broke in close path structure over here. We have a sell signal, a sell entry that would be available there. And then I would anticipate this to drop to this next structure over here, which I would probably round to like 35 pips. So like from this point over here, I would probably anticipate this to continue pushing down to test this structure right here, right? That's pretty much what I see happening for USD CAD. You mentioned that it was reaching a demand zone, right? So I'm assuming you're thinking of this as the demand, which, you know, it kind of goes hand in hand because it's just like a resistance. It's like a break and retest. So we had price break structure. We have it retest right here, like you mentioned, and then it's probably going to drop further from that point to full TP over here, right? So like your analysis does play out if you're looking at it from a supply and demand perspective. But I think for Forex, I mean, me personally, and from other people that I've seen as well, there isn't supply and demand in Forex. I mean, it's the same as support and resistance, but I mean, obviously it's just, you know, it's slightly different, but your same theory applies here. Like, for example, you mentioned that you thought this was demand. And like, for example, here it's a break and retest, which, you know, it falls with your analysis, which is completely fine. It's just, I think the whole concept of supply and demand, it works for limited, like assets with limited quantities, right? For Forex pairs like this can't be overbought or oversold because it's just one currency against another currency. If you're trading the index, like for example here, if you're trading just the DXY, then yeah, there's supply and demand because there's only so much, you know, there's only so much availability of the dollar, right? But if you're pairing it, you know, the dollar index versus the Canadian dollar, like for example here for USD CAD, if this ends up, let me check this real quick, CAD CXY. So if this ends up, so say if this ends up dropping, right? Say if this keeps dropping like forever, like just keeps dropping for like days and days, if not weeks, if not months, and this just keeps pushing up, there's really going to be no overbought area for it, right? If that happens, this will just keep pushing down farther and farther until the dollar index, you know, recovers, and then the Canadian index, you know, goes the opposite way as well. So just depending on how you analyze the indexes, you know, if they keep going opposite for a long time, like for example here, this kept dropping for like a long time from like February, and then for the Canadian dollar over here, from February is going up, right? So you see how they're moving complete opposite, where the dollar index is going down and this is going up. That would indicate that USD CAD just kept dropping right here from February 4th, right? So from February 4th up to here, it just kept dropping lower and lower. So, you know, if you're using a supply and demand, you're thinking that, oh, it's reaching supply, it should, you know, swing back up. But there's really no supply here. It just keeps pushing down as far as possible until the index, you know, weakens or strengthens one way or the other. So just keep that in mind when analyzing this. You know, I see a lot of people that like to carry over a lot of stock theories and future theories, like those type of strategies over to Forex, and it doesn't usually translate. Like, for example, I see a lot of people that like to use RSI. That's like one of the biggest things that doesn't work for Forex, because a lot of people like to use RSI and they like to look at like the overbought, oversold function. Sometimes it does work, but majority of the time it doesn't. Like, for example, right here, it's like overbought, right? But it just keeps pushing up higher and higher. Sometimes it works, but I mean, most of the time it doesn't. like for example, right here, it was oversold. A lot of people like to buy when it's oversold, but for Forex, that doesn't really work. It just keeps pushing down further and further because the, you know, Canadian currency was stronger than the US dollar. So just keep that in mind when you guys are looking at things like that. It's not bad to look at it that way, but I mean, it's not right either because, you know, those specific ways of analyzing charts don't necessarily work, but, you know, it just depends on how you're using the indicator and how you're using that analysis. But yeah, I mean, it looks fine for the most part. Famous if you're looking at this for a sell, because it just looks like a break and retest pattern to me, which satisfies your analysis of it as well. So our US 30 position here is pushing in profit right now. It's looking pretty decent. If it breaks and closes past the structure, we could probably see it push even farther. Yeah, I'm in profit a little bit. I'm in profit like 60 bucks right now. It's not that bad. The reason for that is because I entered late, right? I entered when it was already in profit. So that's why I'm not at the full profit right now. It's currently in profit. How many pips? About 100 pips. So if I enter at the proper time, I'd probably be up 100 bucks, but I'm only up like 60 bucks right now, which is not bad. Profit's profit. So let me continue down over here real quick. All right, Gene Vaughn wants me to take a look at Bitcoin. So let me pull up Bitcoin real quick for you guys. And if you guys have any other questions, you know, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, I will, you know, I'll just go from what we have here currently. So the next question right here was for Gene Vaughn. He wanted me to take a look at Bitcoin. So for me personally, I think Bitcoin is just going to be overall bullish for a while now because a lot of companies are starting to endorse it. You know, it started off with Tesla over here. They pushed price way up, and then a lot of other card companies are starting to accept it as well. But yeah, just looking at this here, I'm just going to draw my zones. And I think it's just going to keep being bullish. I think if you're asking like how I trade Bitcoin, I usually just buy the dip. So whenever it dips down, I just buy some more Bitcoin. And right now it's, you know, it's currently at a dip. It's pushed up above here, pulled down right here. I probably would have bought some more Bitcoin, but I think it's starting to lose some of its steam. I think overall it'll keep pushing up, but it's honestly, I think if it breaks above this point right here, Gene Vaughn. So if this breaks above this structure right here, then I can anticipate it to push up even further. So right here, let me see, I'll turn on the momentum indicator. You know, obviously the same thing that I've been applying for all the Forex pairs, indices, anything like that. It's the same analysis that applies here as well. So for here, we have the rejection off this point. We have the buy signal right here. We have price end up breaking closing past structure right here. And then it just pushed up higher, right? The way that I trade Bitcoin is I wait for the dips. So I let it push up. As it comes down, I buy some more Bitcoin. As it pushes up again here and it swings down, I buy some more Bitcoin. Again, right here, as it pushes up and comes down, I would buy some more Bitcoin right here. Because for Bitcoin, I don't actively trade it. The spread is crazy on Bitcoin, so I don't really like to scalp it. I just buy and hold it. And then I just, you know, I let it play out. Like I think for my Bitcoin, let me check. I bought my Bitcoin when, like right before Elon mentioned that he was going to endorse it. I only bought like 500 bucks of Bitcoin, and let's see where my Bitcoin's at now. It's at like 1,035. So if you guys see here on my screen, I don't know if you guys can see it, but yeah, right here, I made 100% increase off that 500 bucks because I bought it like when Elon mentioned it right here. So I actually bought it around this area when it dipped down, and then Elon mentioned, oh, they're going to start accepting Bitcoin and stuff like that. And then it skyrocketed. So it went from like 500 to like 1,000 now. So I just doubled up that. And I'm probably going to buy some more right here. The only reason I have a little bit of Bitcoin right now is because I sold off all my Bitcoin when it dropped over here back in January. So when the new year started and we got to this point, 41,000, I just sold off because I know everyone was kind of worried about it. And then I rebought it again right here. So I kind of just made like a small profit off it, and then it shot up again. So it worked perfectly fine. But yeah, just looking at Bitcoin here, Gene Vaughn, depending on how you're trading it, if you're trading it on the longer term perspective, then obviously I have a bullish bias on this, right? I would just wait for it to dip down, which it already did, and I'd buy some more. But if you were scalping it, so let's look at it on the 30-minute, because I know some of you guys like to scalp Bitcoin. So looking at Bitcoin over here, so there's no entries over here because we need the rejection off the pivot and the structure. It looks like the last entry would have been right here, right? And you know, if you're still here, I'm going to be transparent with you because you're saying that I'm not transparent. There's no entries here, right? If there was an entry here, then we'd look for something, but there's literally no entries here. And you know, if there's something that's like confusing you guys, I can explain it to you. But you know, for example, here, I'm just going to draw these here so I can be, before someone comes and complains again and says that like I'm only showing wins. I'm not only showing wins, I'm only showing the entries. because I mean, obviously, just because there's more wins and losses doesn't mean that a strategy is fake, right? I mean, some people just haven't found something that works well, and they just haven't found success trading. They think that things don't work, but in reality, if you find what works and you apply it, you can see that it actually works. But just looking here at Bitcoin, there's no entries here, right? Because we need a rejection off a pivot and a structure. If you look right here, here's the first entry right here, because we have the rejection off the pivot and the structure. So I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. If you guys think I'm not being honest, and this is just me joking with you guys, right? I try to be as transparent as possible with you guys. And sometimes I miss things, I'm human, I make mistakes. But here I'm not making a mistake. I'm showing you guys that the most recent entry for this would have been right here, because there's no other rejections off this point. If there's rejections, I'll show you the loss, but there's no rejections. The first rejection was off this point, this red candle. If you took a long position right there, I don't trade Bitcoin, so I don't know what the sweet spot is, but that would have hit TP right there. If you took the one next to it, this one right here, this would still be full TP as well. So depending on which one you took, this one or this one, full TP. If you wanted to take this one right here, so like I'm purposely looking for a loss now, because I don't want people to be complaining that, oh, Shawn only shows wins. I'm only showing wins because all we see are wins here. If I see a loss, I'll show you a loss. But there's no losses here, right? Okay, for example, right here. Actually, no, this wouldn't be a loss. And the reason for that is because this pivot's cutting into this body. Other than that, I mean, look, so there's a win right there. There's a win right there. If there's a loss here, point me out, guys, because I'm trying to be 100% with you guys. If you guys don't think I'm being 100% with you guys. So again, right here, there's another entry where this red candle and this green candle rejected off this point. If you took this here, full TP right there. Again, right here, if you took this trade right here, this green one, another full TP right there as well. Or not full TP, depends on, what the sweet spot is. If your sweet spot is too wide, I think this is too wide, 785 pips. That's a lot of pips. I probably would be using maybe around 500 or 400, somewhere around there. But here, if you wanted to take a big move, then yeah, you would hit stop loss. I'm transparent, right? But if you wanted to take, what I always recommend, it's usually the middle of the pivots right here. It'd be around this area. So it'd be around maybe 250 to 500. If that was the case, it would have hit TP. So just keep that in mind. And then we'll see, we'll see what else we've got over here. So that's pretty much it for Bitcoin. Let's go back to your US 30 position. Nice. So it's about to break structure right here. I mean, it did break structure. We just need it to close above it. And then it'll be shooting for TP right there. So, all right, next up on the list, let me see what else we're missing over here. So I looked at that for Gene Vaughn. All right, cool. So that looks good for the most part over there. All right, so Muhammad wants me to look at gold. I already looked at gold, so I think you already saw that analysis earlier, Muhammad. I'll take a look again later if you want me to. Just put it again in the chat if you want me to, but I did look at it earlier. I'm not sure if you saw it. All right, so Billy wants me to take a look at odd NZD. So just looking back at US 30, it's looking fine so far. We still don't have an entry for the daily here on US 30. But other than that, I mean, for the most part, it's still we're still pretty nice in profit. I'm in profit now, 120 bucks. Not too bad for US 30 this morning. And let me see if I could. So I'm just going to show you guys that I did take the trade here. All right. So I don't know, all the trades that I call actually do take. So like right here, here's the buy for US 30. It's a standard lot. I'm profit about 100 bucks right now, right? So I just want to be completely transparent with you guys in case someone wants to complain about it a little later. Like this is the trade that I called earlier, this buy for this one right here. And I'm currently in it right here on my account as well, on my FTMO. Right, so here's my FTMO right here, currently in profit about 99 bucks. And we're gonna move on to the next one over here. All right, so it pulled down a little bit, it's fine, it happens. So the next up, we're gonna look at odd NZD for, sorry, let me see, what was it for? Billy. So Billy, I'm gonna look up odd NZD for you right here. So I'll go back to odd NZD over here. Delete everything off the chart. Drop these zones real quick. So we got a zone up here. We got a zone down here and a zone right here and a zone down here. All right, cool. So we're good with this. So just looking at this from this perspective, let's see, odd NZD. So from right here, I'm gonna use the same analysis that I've been using for pretty much everything else I've analyzed. So first thing I'm gonna do is turn on the momentum indicator right here. Obviously, we have a bullish bias right here. We have the rejection from this point. We have the buy signal right here. Price broke and closed past structure right here. Then it pushed up to the next structure above here, right? Again, right here, price broke structure. So with that said, we anticipate this to push up even higher from this point. I don't know, possibly up to here, 100 pips. If you wanted to go for that full move, but it is a risky move. I wouldn't go for the full move, obviously. But I mean, who knows? It'll play out. Because if you look here, the same pattern played out over here as well. We had a rejection from this point. We had a buy signal right here. We had price break and close past structure above here. And it did exactly what I mentioned right here, right? So like buy signal right here or buy entry, and you just write it to the next structure above there for about 100 pips. So, I mean, it just really depends on how you're analyzing this or how long you plan on holding it. Obviously, this took a long ass time for it to hit full TP, but it ends up hitting full TP eventually. So I think this is what's going to play out here again as well. I think it's going to keep pushing up from this point and touch, this area over here. So that's my analysis right there. Obviously we'll just wait and see how this carries on throughout the week, because there's just a big open area right here, right? If there's new zones that get created within this area over the week, then that could change things. But until then, there's just no zones within that area. So with this open space, it's probably just going to keep pushing up to this next zone up here before it either breaks above it or comes back down from this point. And we could go ahead and compare the indexes for this. We have the Aussie index right there and the NZD index right here. So looking at these right here, the Aussie index is bullish, right? Super bullish. And then the NZD index is actually bearish. So with that said, this is probably going to keep pushing up higher and higher because the Aussie is stronger than the NZD right now. So just keep that in mind, guys. This is something that's good to look at if you want to confirm the strength of each specific currency. If this continues to be strong and this continues to be weak, then this will continue to push up and play out exactly where we anticipate it to go. So that's pretty much it for odd NZD, Billy. Other than that, let's see if there's anything else to look at. Let's take a look at US 30 again. Looks pretty decent, still pushing up. So Slav said trying to report these scammers when I see those. Yeah, definitely, Slav. When I see those in the chat, I mean, it's just super annoying that it shows up. But it's fine. I mean, it's not something that we could really prevent. I'm just gonna skip all the messages by Harry Trader over here. It's funny when I go back and look at them. Yeah, exactly. So Jeremy kind of confirmed my trade that I took. So I did take a loss on last Friday, but I also took a win, and I took both. Like Jeremy mentioned, he said he traded short first, but that meant that it's risky. The second one was a long, and it was a loss on a Friday. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it goes both ways. Let's see. Yeah, Mustafa. Funny. I'm gonna skip through your messages here because I did see you guys messaging here in the chat. So I'm just gonna skip all of these kind of relevant messages here. And I'm gonna go through. So Gene Vaughn said, Shawn, how much percent do Hugo's Way take when you do a withdrawal? I don't think they take anything, Gene Vaughn. It's just when you transfer to Bitcoin, when you try to convert the Bitcoin to US dollars, that's where, and whichever platform you're using takes a cut. I don't think Hugo's Way takes a cut. They only take cuts from commission with your specific trades, but not necessarily for your Bitcoin when you end up withdrawing. Yeah, like Life Through My Lens mentioned, Hugo's Way fees are minimal. Only bad thing about Hugo's Way is that's manipulated. I agree, Life Through My Lens, 100%. I feel the same way with that as well. Josh said, Shawn took me from just taking signals to making my own trades. I don't care what you think because you're, yeah, no, definitely Joseph. Joey, I'm going to keep skipping through some of these right here. Gene Vaughn said my bank account was having issues. I withdraw 17 bucks and only got back 9. Yeah, so Gene Vaughn, the charges are when you're converting Bitcoin to US dollars. I don't think it's necessarily through your Hugo's Way withdrawal. All right. I'm just reading all these messages. Look like you guys are going back at it for a while. Oh, nice. So Harris said he was in OddCAD for a sell. He was already at 10 pips. Yeah. So if you took that sell for OddCAD, I know we were analyzing that earlier, Harris. Yeah. See, this is what I was talking about earlier. This is why I wouldn't want to take this trade for OddCAD because look at this rejection off the structure right here. It's just too risky for me to want to take. So that's pretty much it for OddCAD. Let me go back to US 30. US 30 is on its way to full TP. Let me get my my horns ready in case when it ends up hitting. So we got that ready there. Let me keep scrolling down real quick. All right. No, it's just funny. I see all these messages here because you guys are kind of just having your side combos there. Braden said he's shorting gold at the 950 candle, 650 my time. So Braden, let me take a look at gold real quick because you did mention that you were shorting gold. So let's go to gold over here. Yeah, guys, if I missed your question, sorry, just put it back in the chat and I'll take a look. It's just, we had all that whole stuff going on earlier where I missed everything that was going on. But it looks like, yes. So Braden said he shorted gold at about 650 my time. So 650 my time would be, oh, perfect. Yeah. So you actually took it right here. Or if I go to like the 10-minute chart. Oh, perfect. Yeah. So you took this entry right here, Braden. I mean, it's not a full entry for the scalp strategy, but if you did take that rejection off that point, I know we did talk about this where you can take a little bit of some risky trades. And yeah, if you did take that trade, it looks like it dropped pretty nicely, about 300 pips if you ended up taking that right there. I mean, you did take it. So I don't know if you caught that and then exited or if you just held on to it. But I mean, that was a great trade so far if you did take that trade. So let me keep going down the chat real quick, see what else I missed. Yeah, no, it's funny. I'm just watching all of this. Yeah, no problem, Samurai. Yeah, that was a decent analysis for UJ. Skinny Boy says, Shawn, you should ignore it. Yeah, no, I'll definitely take a look at that. So Kristen said I got tagged into the Euro odd trade. So let me pull up Euro odd real quick. I don't think mine filled yet because I never got an alert. I have alerts usually set for my Euro odd. Oh yeah, okay. So Euro odd did fill, guys. So let me just give you guys an update here that here let's put this FYI, our Euro odd position is now active. Just to let you guys know, because I mean, I'm trying to be 100% with you guys. So I'm just letting you guys know that the position is active. So Kristen, it's good that, I mean, yeah, it's fine that your trade activated because it is now active. So just gave you guys an update for you guys that are wondering. It is active now. It just activated. So just going back right here to show you guys it. So I called this trade last night right here at about 10 p.m. my time. So it didn't fill until just now. It's currently active now. And it looks fine. It looks like it's going to come down further and further. So we'll wait and see how this plays out from this point. But this is dropping from this point here. So it's currently in profit. It looks like it's, it's on its way to TP1 right here. And then it's probably going to continue dropping further and further. So just looking at Euro odd, I'm going to take a look at the index for it. So we'll put the European index right here. And then we have the Aussie index right here. And yeah, this looks perfectly fine. Well, I mean, the Euro index still hasn't came back yet. It's still offline for whatever reason. I don't know why the Euro index is closed. But the Aussie index is pushing up. So with that said, that's actually good for our position because if the Aussie index continues to be strong, this should continue dropping from this point over here. So Kristen, it's fine that your position filled. I think it filled on my end too. Let me check my FCMO. Yeah, it filled on my end. So we're both good. And then we'll just wait and see how this ends up, playing off this here. So let me see what else we have over here as we continue. All right. Let me see what else we got over here. Sorry guys, I'm just going through the chat. I'm gonna skip through everything that. Okay, so Karen wants me to take a look at GN. So let me pull up GN for you guys real quick. And if you guys have any other questions, just put them in the chat and I'll analyze them for you. I'm here to help you guys. I do this completely free. I literally don't ask you guys for anything on this chat aside from like liking the video and following the channel. My main goal here is to help you guys out. I'm not here to really obviously, if you guys want to sign up to the premium, it's available to you, but I'm not pushing it on you guys, right? I'm not like, oh, you guys have to sign up or you guys can have access to these live streams. I've been going on these live streams every day for like the past 4 months now, completely free. I'm here just giving advice and giving you guys trade analysis. And I plan on continuing to do that. So, just keep that in mind. If you guys have any other questions, just put them in the chat and I'll analyze it for you. But yeah, for right now, I'm gonna look at GN right here for Karen. So let's pull this up real quick. So it looks like you might have taken that buy right there, right, Karen, if you're applying the K2sr. But I'll analyze it from both the 4 hour and I'll also drop down to the shorter time frames as well for any possible scalps. So looking at GN right here, those are the zones. We need an upper zone here as well. So we have the 8 hour. Here is the daily over here. That's pretty much it from that point. All right, so just looking at this here on the 4 hour, depending on how you were analyzing, Karen, I'm assuming you were probably analyzing it from a long perspective, right? If you're applying this on the 4 hour. So we have the rejection from this point right here. We have the buy signal right here. We have the break and close past structure right here. So I think you're fine if you took that buy right there. I think what's happening here is it just broke structure. So it's doing a break and retest, right? Broke structure, closed, and then now it's retesting the structure. And then once you retest the structure, it'll probably skyrocket back up. So I think you're completely fine if you took this trade right here. I mean, you fit all the requirements here for the K2sr strategy. So for example, here, we would have entered a long position right here. And this is something that I was actually looking at calling. It's just I didn't call it because it just looked a little risky for me. But I mean, technically it's still fine. So if you did a 50 pip TP stop loss, it's still technically active, just slightly below entry right there. So this is pretty much the analysis on the 4 hour. I'll go on the 30-minute now, and I'll show you if there's any scalp entries that were possibly available off that. So you can see right here that I have these markers right here next to the pairs. If I have the marker next to it, that means that I was looking at it. I was going to call this for a trade, but I didn't call it. There's various reasons for that. But just looking at GN over here, I'll turn the K2sr indicator. We'll just draw some zones off this point, and then I'll just show you if there was any scalps that were available recently, obviously, right? So this is a 30-minute right here. That right there. That right there. That right there. Right there. And then these lower zones right here are kind of relevant. So I'm not going to look at these because they go pretty far back. This is like February 11th of last week, which is irrelevant to us now because we're at this time. So just looking at this here, there's a bunch of entries here that you could have taken for some scalps. So these will actually justify your entry that you have right now, Karen, if you have this for a buy right now. So for example, there's 3 entries right here. I think the sweet spot for scalping this is about 30 pips. So technically, if you took that trade right there, if you took that trade right there, it's currently in profit. So there's the first entry right here, this red candle, because it rejects off the pivot and the structure. The next entry would be this green candle right here because it rejects off the pivot and the structure. So if you took this entry down here, you'd be in profit. If you took this entry right here, slight drawdown. There's another entry right here for this red candle. It rejects off this yellow pivot and the structure. So with that said, you'd have another entry here for profit, right? So technically, this would be the most recent entry off this most specific candle right here if you took this, Karen. And it looks perfectly fine. Looks like it's going to continue pushing up. You just have to wait for that push up higher from this point. So if you're in this this buy right now, Karen, I think you should be good. Just looking at this from the top-down analysis, looking on the 4 hour, it's bullish to me. Looking on the 30-minute, it's also bullish to me here, and there's a 30-minute scalp. So you should be fine off this trade if you're taking a buy. It's just a game of patience because the market's going to be very slow today due to the low volatility for the US holiday. So other than that, let's see if there's any other questions here as we continue. So, all right. I'm just going to skip through these over here real quick. All right, so that's about it for here. Talanji said, LOL, hit the like button. Thanks, Talanji. Yeah, okay, anyways, let me see if there's anything else here. Yeah, and Matt, you also mentioned, nobody ever asks you to stack trades stupidly. Yeah, if you guys are going to stack trades, so here's an example. Like, when you guys stack trades, guys, you're going to stack when, like, market is trending right here, right? So, like, for example, here, when price is trending very strong, the reason the way to identify that is if the pivots are spread out and they're angling the same direction. If that's happening, then you can stack trades. You're not going to stack trades when price is choppy, like right here. Yeah, you can see the example. It's choppy throughout this whole area. Then it's a nice move up, a nice move down here. You can stack these trades. And I'll just show you an example. There's trades here that you can stack. There's like one there. There's like one here. There's a couple sells you can take here, right? These are trades that you can stack because price is trending down heavily. There's a sell right there. There's a sell right there, possibly, if you took that really close. And then there's a couple trades down here if there was some zones. Obviously, there's no zones right here, so we wouldn't take that. But you could have stacked these two because price is trending heavy. Vice versa over here. If price is trending heavy, you can keep stacking trades here. But you're not going to stack trades when it's going sideways. So, just to clear up some confusion, guys, there's a good ability for you to stack trades. It's just you're not going to stack trades if stuff ends up being choppy like this right here. It's trending up, you'd stack trades. Right here, it's choppy, you don't stack trades. It's trending up, you stack trades. I mean, it's pretty common sense, but obviously, if you don't have the common sense to see that, then maybe just don't stack trades. Just hold off and wait for things to spread out. Like, for example, right here, you could have stacked these two trades right here because this is what I was talking about it being a nice trend upwards, right? Price isn't crossing over very often. If it crosses over like it does right here, don't stack trades. But if price is spread out like it is right here, then you can stack trades. Like, for example, if there was another entry right here that was available, you could have stacked another one, but there wasn't, right? So just keep that in mind, guys, and just be smart about your trades. Don't stack trades if you're not confident with your trading ability. Obviously, the only people that should be stacking trades if they're confident with their scalping. So just keep that in mind. Other than that, let me see if there's anything else here where we can continue on with this. Nice. Yeah. So thanks for confirming that, James. I did see that EA became active. Sam said possible snipe entry for S&P. So let me pull up S&P real quick. Which time frame are you looking at, Sam? I'll look at it on the 30-minute and then I'll look at it on the 10-minute just to confirm, because I'm not sure which time frame you're looking at specifically. But we'll look at the 30-minute first. So let's go to the 30-minute down here for S&P. Let's see if there's any entries available here. Yeah, so it looks like there was a snipe entry available right here, Sam, if you're on the 30-minute. And this is just me looking at the most recent entry, right? I can go back over here and there's more entries available. But I'm not trying to just show you guys wins. I'm trying to show you guys like the trades that are actually available, because I mean, there's only so many that are available. There's not like so many trades. Like the strategy works specifically, if you follow the rules right here. So if you follow the rules and you do it to the T, you'll see here that there's actual entries that are available. So let me just pull this down a little bit right here. And then this right here as well. And then we'll just use this for an example here. So just looking at S&P, obviously there's a bunch of entries here that are available, right? Because we have the rejection off the pivot, we have a rejection off the structure. So there's entries down here that are available. And this is another example of stacking positions, right? Because if you zoom out, like rewind to this area, you can see that the pivots are spread out and they're angling up. If this happens here, you can stack positions. If this is happening right here where they just keep crossing over, you're not going to stack positions there. But just looking at this where price currently is, so there's entries down there, right here. There's a bunch of entries if you wanted to stack. You don't have to stack. I'm just saying that they're available if you wanted to. It just depends on how risky you want to take your trades. But looking at the most recent trade right here, so this is where price currently is. There's no zones in this area. The most recent one is right here for this red candle. So if you take this red candle right here, it rejects off this yellow pivot and this structure right here. So if you wanted to take that, there'd be a long position right here. And I think the sweet spot's about 500 pips, right? 50 points. So if you took that, that would have hit full TP right there off the 30-minute. Let me go to the 10-minute. And I'll just show you here as well, S&P. So looking at this here on the S&P, yeah, it looks like there's actually more zones here. So this is probably something that you could have taken on this point. So that right there. We have this one right here. We have this one right here as well. So yeah, just looking at this right here, I'm gonna turn that off. And yeah, Sam, so actually there is a scalp entry right here. I mean, if you guys wanted to take the snipe entry off S&P, there's actually a snipe entry that's available. There's one right here, this red candle. That's technically out. This is the most recent one. So if you wanted to take that, Sam, it's active right now and in profit. So if you guys want to take this scalp right here for S&P, I mean, it's technically still active. It lines up with our US 30 position, but you know, obviously the volatility is just very low. So we have an entry there. There's also another entry that was here earlier. And then there's another entry that was available down here as well. So there's a bunch of entries that were available here. And you know, this is me just showing you guys what's available, right? I'm not showing you just the wins. I'm showing you that these are the only ones that are available because it fits the requirements. So one right here, there's another one right here as well. And let me see if I could find a loss just so I can show you guys that, you know, this strategy is not 100%. You guys got to keep that in mind, that not every strategy, there's no strategy that's going to be 100%. It's impossible. There's going to be losses here and there, but, you know, obviously this strategy has a high win rate. I mean, I know it's hard to believe, but I mean, the results speak for themselves, right? I just go back. If I find a bad trade here, that's what I'm looking for. So I can show you when it actually does lose. But I mean, for the most part, if you took any of these trades here, like any of these back-to-back on S&P, they would have hit TP, or they're still active and in profit. See, so this is active and in profit. This is active and in profit. This is active and in profit, right? Okay, so here's a loss. I'm be straight up with you guys. There's losses here. When there's a loss, you just skip the trade. So like, say for example here, if you take this loss right here, so this is it's a sell entry right here because it rejects off the pivot and the structure. If you took this trade right here, it's fine. You know, you eat the loss and then you just carry on because you make up that loss with any other trade moving forward. You know, you just got to keep that in mind that you guys got to keep pushing. You can't just get stuck on one loss and then, you know, give up on trading. Right here, here's one loss. So after this loss right here, you would just wait. Like, you know, if you guys know how I trade, if I have one loss, I wait for it to swing up. So I take this loss for a sell. I wait for it to swing up. Then I take this buy over here for a win, basically, because it's still currently in profit. And then if I want to take on another trade right here, another win right there as it continues to push up, and then continues like, you know, with every trade following it, you know, no BS. There's going to be bad trades. It's impossible for you to be 100%, but as long as you're right more than you are wrong, then, you know, obviously it'll play out in your favor. So there goes that for the most part. S&P, there is another entry here available. And, you know, I literally had to go point out this loss just to show you guys that, you know, the strategy works both ways. You could take sells, you could lose, you could take buys, you could lose, but more times than not, it'll, you know, it'll be more profitable if you just take every trade for the most part. But yeah, so S&P right here, Sam, if you're looking at this right here, definitely a snipe entry right there. Another one right here as well that is currently active. So, all right, guys, full TP on our US 30. Where you at, Harry? We just hit that TP right there. I called that live. Yeah. I took it on my account. Just want to confirm with you over here as well. I'll show you my real account here since you like to complain and say that I don't take these trades on my own account. Let me see real quick. So yeah, Harry, I hope you're still in this room because I did call this trade live for you. And yeah, there's my profit right there. You see how it's green on that point? Because it hit TP. So I don't know how much transparent you want me to be for you, but there goes your transparency right there. Full TP on that. You know, on top of that, we gotta throw in some horns so you guys can get that. So there goes that. I mean, for the most part, you guys saw that we caught that trade live. I called it for you guys, took it, hit TP, showed you guys the TP as well. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it, guys. So, all right, let me see what else is going on over here as we continue. Hopefully you guys took that scalp right there. I'll just post an update as well in the chat for that specific trade. All All right, so we're good on that right there. Yeah, exactly. See, Camo said you can't be more transparent than winning live. Like I called that trade live. I took it with you guys. I showed you my profit. I mean, I don't know what else to show you guys. If you guys don't believe the trades, then just don't believe it, because I'll keep trading the same way, and we'll just keep stacking up these wins for whoever wants to take this with me. Let me see what else we got over here. Sorry, guys. Let me just put this over here real quick. Let's give you guys an update. So I'll forward this over to you guys over here so you guys can see. All right, like I'm showing profits from everybody. I showed my profits. I showed Jetta's profits over here. Let's see, that's my messages. Yeah, so everyone here, took these trades. Yeah, exactly. So Skinny Buzz over here said, Shawn, money in the bank. We took the US 30 together, baby. Yeah, so, I call these trades live, guys, so you guys can take them with me. I'm trying to be 100% with you guys. We did call this trade, and then there goes TP. And I'll send my profits right here as well. Let me just take a screenshot of that so I can show you guys. Let's see, for the day. Man, dude, MT4 is like, wait, why hasn't it exited my trade yet? It's weird. All right, so I'll send my profits for the day so far. Let me see what I've got over here. So I took a smaller profit on that. So let me just, I'll just screenshot that real quick. Screenshot this real quick too. So like, what Harry was saying, that is like, oh, I don't take the trade. I don't show my profits. Let me show you my profits then, just to confirm with you guys that, that I did take those. So let me just post this up real quick. I just find it funny, guys. I find it really funny when people come in the group and try to talk nonsense. So let me see. I'll send that there. Okay, so I sent my profits there, so you guys can see I took that buy entry with you guys here. We took that there, and then I sent my profits right here in the group. So for you guys that don't think that I take these trades with you guys, I do. Right there, buy for US 30, another buy for US 30 right there. So my two FTMO accounts right there, I made about 488 off that, made about 489 off that. And then on my Hugo's Way, I made about 95. So I have three accounts. I have FTMO funded accounts, and I have my personal account right here as well. So let me just, nice profit. That 30 scalp we took on the live session. All right, let's edit that right there. Edit that right there. And I'll just share this with you guys. Obviously, we're all celebrating. Like it's not just me that's winning, guys. It's literally everybody here. And I'll save your trade. So if you guys want me to post your profits, just send them in the group and I'll save them for you guys. So like, check this out, guys. It's not just me that's profiting. Jet over here locked in 144. Owen over here locked in about 1,000. Nice. Oh, and you locked in the gold trade right there. We have wins and losses, right? You have a small loss there for UK 100, but you covered it with these two wins right here. So Rami over here as well. Nice. Congrats, guys. So you guys can see that the whole team here is eating. It's not just me. Same with Flynn over here. Nice work, Flynn. You made about 729 off that trade. Congrats, guys. Nice. Look right here, Mark too. Congrats, Mark. So Mark over here locked in about 1,000 off that. Nice work. Yeah, and it goes all around, guys. It's not just me profiting. It's not just the team profiting. I mean, literally everybody here is profiting. So that's pretty much that. So let me go back to S&P real quick. Sorry, James, I just saw your message. So S&P over here, the TP for S&P is going to be, well, depending on which one you're looking at, James, there's three here. The first one, that TP is going to be 33,957.2. That's the first one over here. If you took this like way earlier, the next one over here is 3,957.2 for this one. And then the current one that I just looked at right now is going to be 3,959.8. So that's 3,959.8 for the most recent scalp right here on S&P. So that's pretty much it for that. All right, let me go down the chat real quick, see if I missed anything else, and then we'll continue on with this. Nice. But Shonda over here just locked in some profit too. So congrats, Shonda. You know, Shonda said small wins, love it. Yeah, no, definitely. You know, these small wins add up. You made $2 off that first trade, 84 off the next trade, $1 off the other one, and you took the S&P as well. So you're stacking up, Shonda. You know, you just got to keep taking these trades. And it becomes a numbers game, guys. Just keep in mind it's a numbers game, you know? You don't have to hit those home runs for every single trade. You just have to stack up these wins. Right here again, Quen. Nice. Quen took 2 right here for US 30, 168, and then again for 49. So congrats on that, guys. Everyone here is eating, right? It's not just one person. There's like literally the whole team's eating. So that's pretty much it for that. Let me see if there's anything else here before, you know, we continue on. Nice. Merspot said setting stop loss, going to ride the scalp. Nice, nice. Yeah, no, definitely. So you can do that as well, Merspot. What I'm going to do next is I'm probably going to look for another scalp entry. So now that we're above here, let me see if there's any new zones here. Yeah, so there's no new zones right now. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to go and turn on my my alerts so that it can alert me when price reaches this pivot. So when that happens, I can see if there's another entry that becomes available. But until then, let me go see if there's anything else for us to look at before I continue on. So let's see. Yeah, Merspot said, wishing I would have held that Sunday fun day buy instead of closing it before London session. So yeah, if you guys were taking the, actually, I don't know about the Sunday fun day strategy. Yeah, so I didn't take that trade, but I think we did cover it yesterday. Anyways, let me go back to the chat right here and see if there's anything else that I'm missing. Bremen said, I'm new and thinking of subscribing. Do any of you just take the premium signals? Is it hard to catch the signals? So Bremen, it's not that difficult. It just, you know, it depends on what you're trying to trade. Because for the signals, I trade Forex on the 4-hour time frame. So it's really not, it's not that difficult as long as you can pull up your charts at the close of every 4-hour, or if you can at least look at your phone at the end of every 4-hour candle close. That's when I call the Forex trades. For US 30, we call the daily entry usually in the morning. So around this time, New York session, this is where the daily entry is called. The entry hasn't showed up yet, so there's no entry. And then I also call the scalps live. So if you want to, you know, catch the scalps live real time, I send out the Zoom link so you can have, you know, a better quality video when following my trades, you know, versus YouTube here, which is kind of laggy sometimes. But I mean, it shouldn't be too difficult depending on how you're trading or depending on where you're located as well. So Amanda's asking, is NAS about to buy? So let me pull up NASDAQ real quick. You know, we'll analyze NASDAQ on the 30-minute right here. Pull up NASDAQ. All right, Amanda. So sorry, I think we might have missed your analysis for this right here because it did push up, but I'll just pull up the K2sr zones right here. So I'm just going to draw my zones real quick and I'll see if there were any entries that were available right here off the 30-minute. If we don't see anything on here, we'll drop down to the 10-minute. And then if that becomes, and if there's nothing there as well, we'll just drop down to the other time frame. So we have one right here. There. The thing with the NASDAQ is that it's been moving pretty weird, like the past couple weeks. It hasn't been moving smooth at all. All right, so with that said right there, I drew the zones. Just looking at it from the 30-minute, it doesn't look like, yeah, I mean, obviously it has a bullish bias here, but it doesn't look like there was an entry, or actually there was an entry available right here. So if you look at this green candle right here, if you scroll back, you'll see this is the first valid entry because price ends up rejecting off the structure and it rejected off the pivot right here. So we have one entry right there. And then we have a couple more entries right here as well with this green candle right here. So if we go ahead and replay this back over here, if you were to identify this where this green candle rejected off this this yellow pivot and the structure, you would have taken a long position right here. And I think the sweet spot for NASDAQ is, I think it's like 200 pips, right? Or something like that. I don't trade NASDAQ, so I wouldn't really know. But that would have been that entry right there. And then if you follow through over here, there's no entry there, no entry there, no entry there. But for this one, same thing, rejection off the yellow pivot and rejection off the structure. With that said, another long position right here for about 200 pips. So if you took either of these positions right here and you let either of them run, and this was actually at 1:30, so there was nothing that happened just now, Amanda, so you didn't really miss anything off the 30-minute. But both of these right here would have hit TP. So that one hit TP and this one hit TP as well. But we'll go down on the 10-minute and then let's see if there was anything off there, because that might be a better place to look. So looking at the 10-minute right here, turn on the K2sr right here. We'll see if there's any entries where price currently was right here. All right, so just looking at NASDAQ right here, I'm gonna turn this off. Looks like, let's see. Yeah, so it looks like there were some buy entries right here. So like this red candle right here, this is the, I think this is the only entry. Oh, actually this green one right here too. But I think this would probably be the most recent entry right here. So technically there was a buy entry that was available right here. It's still technically active if you decided to take it. It's currently in some slight drawdown, but it's still technically active right here. You know, I think on 10-minute, it might be 150 for the sweet spot, because 200 just looks a little too, it looks a little too wide. There we go. So looking at NASDAQ right here, Amanda, there's still technically a buy entry that's available. I wouldn't enter right now. You could probably put a buy stop right here at this entry point, which would be at 13867.4. Again, that's 1387. Oh, sorry, it's 13,867.4. You can put a buy stop right there so that when it does swing back up, it could fill your order. I mean, if you want to get in for a discount, you can, but I wouldn't enter it just yet because it looks like it might be coming down quite a bit before it ends up swinging back up. So technically there's a buy signal that's available right here for NASDAQ. But you know, like I mentioned, I don't trade NASDAQ. I only trade US 30. So I wouldn't really know how it moves per se. And then just looking at CNBC here, let's see if there's any news. Actually, there's no news because the market's closed today. Technically it's closed, but the futures market is still open, obviously. But yeah, I mean, just looking at this here, there's technically a buy entry that would be available right there, but it's currently in some drawdown. So if you do want to enter this, you can put a buy stop at this price point right here. And then as it swings up, it'll fill your order. But I personally wouldn't enter just yet because you just wouldn't really know if it's going to, swing back up or not. You don't want to enter a bad trade, obviously, right? So that's pretty much it for NASDAQ right there on the 10-minute. Let me scroll down some more and see if there's anything else that I missed. Samurai said price of GPUs have gone through the roof. Everyone's mining. That's what it seems like, right, Samurai? I've started to notice that too. I was trying to build a normal PC so I can trade MT4 because I'm on a Mac, so I don't really have access to MT4 aside from the web version. But yeah, pretty much for the most part on that. Let me see if there's anything else here before I continue on. Ikizi said, any chance to testing for tighter stop losses to increase RR? Not really, Ikizi. I mean, we've been using, like, you've been following K2 for like a year now, right? I mean, like one thing that I always mention to people is there's no reason to fix something that's not broken, right? For some reason, a lot of people like to make changes to things that work, and they just end up flopping, right? It just ends up being worse than it already was. So I mean, we have something that works here, easy. So I'm not going to change anything. If it works, I'm going to keep using what works. There's really no point in us changing it. I mean, if you have something that works where you can change the RR, then you can change it yourself. But I mean, me personally, I've been applying this strategy for a long time now. Not just this, but even the K2sr strategy, and it works perfectly fine. So like, there's no point in fixing something that's not broken. So I don't anticipate on changing anything anytime soon, especially not right now. So that's about it for that. Let me go back to US 30 real quick. All right, so it's coming back down right here, which is completely fine. I actually want it to come back down because I want it to come off, reject off the structure and the pivot, and then catch it for another buy in that direction. But who knows? We'll see how this plays out. Looks like we have a pending sell signal here for US 30. We'll see if it closes. If it does close, I'm probably not going to take that bot. I mean that signal either way, because it's just too risky of a trade. Look, it's trending up so heavily right here that I don't think I'd want to take a sell, because it doesn't look like it's ready to dump just yet. I'll just look for some scalp moves if that ends up appearing off this point. All right, anyway, so let me go back over here real quick and see if there's anything else. Keezy said, looking at CoinEx or Prosperity if you don't like Hugo's way manipulation. I think those are both unregulated as well, Keezy, so it doesn't really make a difference. They're probably even using the same data set. It's just they're using a different name and they're using different lot sizes. Because I know CoinEx uses mini lots, so you can trade with a smaller amount with them. Mark said, I called the second US scalp. Which one did you guys take? So we took this one over here, Mark, which was the second one. So we took the same one actually off that second green candle right there. So let me see if there's anything else here before we continue on. We actually got an alert here. Okay, cool. So we'll wait for that entry to play out. Otherwise, we will continue watching on through here. All right, so I think that's it for the questions right here. Let me see if there's anything else before we continue with this. So Faris said, oh, I missed the trades, had stuff to do. There's always tomorrow, I guess. Yeah, Faris, I mean, it's fine. Today is a holiday. I don't know if you're familiar with the US holiday. Today it's President's Day. So the market's actually really slow today. That's why we don't have that many entries. But you'll probably catch the next one if we end up having another one. We're currently just waiting for price to come back down right here, for it to come back and test the structure right here, so that as it rejects off it, we can take that buy entry in the other direction. But that's pretty much what we're waiting for here. Until then, there's just not going to be any entry available at this time. Let's see. Amir said, any TP for USD CAD? Here, let me check real quick. So USD CAD, let me pull that up for you over here. So the TP for USD CAD is going to be 1.26195, Amir. So I'll leave that there for a few seconds, let you copy that. But yeah, that's pretty much what we have right there for USD CAD, if you decided to take this trade using the K2sr strategy. So that's pretty much it for that. Let me see what else we got next up here. Samurai said, US Tech, NASDAQ, my favorite chart. A lot of people like trading NASDAQ. I haven't really got into it yet, but I could see that. I could see how nice it can move. And maybe I should take some trades too, huh? Maybe I'll take this this buy right here. So we have another buy entry here available for NASDAQ. Maybe I'll take it. I don't know. We'll see. So there's another buy scalp right here available for NASDAQ, guys. I personally don't trade NASDAQ, so I'm not really 100% comfortable with it. Maybe I should just take it. We'll try it out. Pull up on my FTMO real quick. US 100. Charted. Oh, fuck, I already missed. So if you guys want to take the trade, it's currently active right now for NASDAQ. I missed it. I was trying to open it up on my chart and it just spiked up all of a sudden. So this scalp right here is available, guys. If you guys want to take this scalp for NASDAQ, the entry point is right here. Here's the parameters. Damn, I literally missed it by a few seconds because I was just looking at, I was trying to pull it up on my FTMO. But here's the entry for NASDAQ if you guys want to take it. Entry point is 13,867.4. The TP is at 13,877.4. And the stop loss is 13,857.4. So this looks pretty nice. The spread's only 5 pips. So if you were to take this trade, I mean, you're only going to be down like maybe 5 pips or so. So you should be good off this. I'm not sure if you guys caught it or if you guys have been watching it. But there is an entry available right there. Unfortunately, I missed it. I was trying to pull it up on my FTMO. I've never traded it before. Well, I mean, I have. Technically, I've traded it, but I don't trade it often, so I don't have it on my watch list. But yeah, I mean, that's the entry right there. If it comes back down, maybe I'll enter it, but I want to get in at prime entry, so I'm just going to wait for it. Okay, so looks like there might be an entry available right here. Let me just, let me give it a second. Actually, I'm going to see what the price difference is for FTMO and this one over here. So let's see, prices 13,867. Sorry, let me 13,000. People are joining the Zoom. Let me just let everybody in. Right, there we go. So 13,867 minus 13,000. Wait, sorry guys, I have the wrong chart open. I have US 30 open on mine. All right, so let me just do that again. It's 13,867 minus 13,000. Oh, it's the same price. So pricing is the same for FTMO and for TradingView. It's nothing different. So maybe I'll take this. I'll wait for it to drop down to entry, and then I'll take the buy entry for now. I'm just trying to figure out what the pricing is. I don't want to enter positions too big because I'm not sure if the pricing is the same for NASDAQ and for let me check real quick because I haven't traded NASDAQ on here, so I don't want to take a trade that's like way too big, like a position that's too big. I'm not sure if it's a standard lot or if it's a, here, I'll just try with the mini lot. Or you know what, let me see. I think some of you guys here have taken S&P. Nice, look at Cheryl over here. Cheryl locked in 734, nice work on that, Cheryl. She took the DAX 30, UK 100, pretty much those two trades right there. And then she took a couple more here, 400 bucks. Nice, nice. So congrats on those two, Cheryl. Nice work on those trades. So we got those right there. Let's see. Yeah, Cheryl said I got a few scalps in last night, waiting here from FTMO on her other funded account. Yeah, sometimes they take some time to get to you, Cheryl, so you should be fine. But yeah, congrats on that. You guys can see here, you know, everyone K2 is eating today. Not bad for like a slow trading day, right? Because today is a slow trading day with the holiday and stuff. So looks fine. I'm still trying to figure out what the lot size is for NASDAQ. I want to take this trade here, but I don't want to put too big of a lot size. Let's see. I just want to see what everyone else is trading here because I know some of you guys do trade NASDAQ. So I want to see what your lot sizes look like for NAS 100 before I enter this trade. Come on, I know some of you guys traded here. Let me see. UK 100. Just want to match my lot sizes with you guys. Let's see. Trell. No, not Trell. Let's see. Joey. No. Spencer. I'm trying to see because I know some of you guys do trade NASDAQ. I see some people. Okay, here we go. Oh, perfect. Okay, so Owen here traded NASDAQ right here, US 100. He took a standard lot. So it looks like it's a standard lot size. It looks perfectly fine. So if it is come back down right here, I'm going to take this entry for this scalp on NASDAQ. I want to get at prime entry. I don't want to enter too early. So I want to wait for it to come down a little bit, and then I'll probably take it off the next available entry. All right, so letting this come down a little bit. See how big was this wick? It's a big wick. So when a wick's that big, it looks like it's going to come up, like spike up from that point, right? But yeah, anyways, I'm going to let NASDAQ drop a little bit, and then I'm probably going to enter this for a scalp, you know, once it drops a little further. All right, let me see. Oh, gotcha. Okay, good to know, Samurai. So Samurai said NASDAQ is $20 per tick on the one lot. Okay, not bad. That's yeah, it's a little more than, I think it's a little more than US 30, but it's fine. Because I'm just going for a smaller scalp anyways, 100 pips. It's not a huge, not really a huge move from that point. But okay, so let me pull up US 30 real quick. I just want to make sure I'm not missing any entries as I watch NASDAQ drop a little bit. Yeah, so it's still far from the next zone. The zone's like way down here. So I'm just waiting for that. And then for NASDAQ over here, I'm trying to catch this. Let me see how many pips am I off. Yeah, I can just enter and I'll just enter a little earlier. It's only off by like 10 pips. I mean, it'd be nice because it would cover the spread if I was to get in, because I'm like giving away 10 pips if I enter right here. Yeah, I'm giving away like 12 pips, which would cover the spread. So I'm basically paying the spread twice if I end up entering this late. It's fine. I'll wait for it. It's just a game of patience, guys. It's going to wait for this. Let me see if there's anything else here as we continue on. So let's see. Yeah, if I miss this trade, it's fine, guys. If you guys are in this trade and hits TP, congrats to you guys. You know, it's fine. I'm not gonna try to hop in all late because this is something that I don't normally trade. So I don't want to hop in and I'm not 100% about the trade. I only want to hop in when I'm 100%. But I will wait for it to come down. Here, let me see if I could. I'm gonna set an alert for this so that it can let me know when it comes down. NZD/USD entry point. So I'll get an alert if it comes down to the entry point, then I'll enter the trade, but I'm not going to enter late because I'm going to give away like 20 pips off that. Anyways, Billy, we want to take a look at GJ. GJ, possible scalp entry off both the 10-minute and the 15-minute. So let me go over here real quick, Billy, and I'll take a look at that. So I'll go in the shorter time frame over here. We'll go to GJ. So you mentioned there's a scalp entry off the 15-minute. So I don't want off the 15-minute right now, Billy. I don't know if you saw something different. I mean, there was one earlier. So the most recent one was right here. There's no entry because it only rejects off pivot, not the structure. It would have to reject off the bottom pivot and the structure right here. The next one would be this one over here, actually. So this one would actually be a valid entry. The reason for that is because I mean, there's a bunch of entries right here if you were to take GJ. So there's one right here off this green candle. There's another one right here off this green candle and this red candle and this other green candle. So there's actually 3 entries right here off this. If you guys were to take this scalp here for GJ, you know, just looking at this from this point, like basically you enter a long position from here. I think the sweet spot for the 15-minute time frame is like, I think 25 pips, right? Or something like that. So if you took that trade, it would have hit full TP, obviously. And this right here, this would have hit full TP as well. And this one as well too. So if you took all 3 trades right here, I mean, this would be a nice stack opportunity because it's trending up, right? So like I mentioned before, when the pivots are spread out like this and they're all angling upwards, it's a nice strong trend up. So if you see stacks and prices like this, it's completely fine. You just don't want to take it when it gets choppy. But yeah, so these are the most recent entries for the 15-minute, Billy. Let me go to the 10-minute and I'll see if there's anything on there. You probably have better opportunity on that versus here on the 15. So let me go over here. I might have to, oh shit, look at this. It's in profit NASDAQ. So if you guys took that trade, it looks really good right here. It's still pushing up further and further. I wish I would have taken it. Unfortunately, I didn't, but it's all good. I'm just going to take this alert off. It's too late for me to enter this trade. I'll be more prepared next time. I think for my FTMO, I'll just keep all of the indices ready so that I can just hop into these trades. But unfortunately, I missed this trade here. It's all good. We'll wait for the next one off US 30. But let me pull up GJ over here for Billy real quick. All right, Billy. So looking at GJ over here, we have, yeah, so we do have that scalp off that red candle right there. So that's pretty solid. We have that scalp there. We have, and I think that's about it for right now, right? So just pull this off right here and then just going off over here. So this is what Billy identified. He identified this red candle right here where it rejected off the pivot and the structure right there, right? Rejected off the K pivot, this yellow one, and rejected off this K2sr zone right here. So Billy, I don't know if you took this trade, but if you did, looks pretty nice. Take that right there. I think TP stop loss sweet spot for the 10-minute would probably be, I'll just eyeball it from right here. It'll probably be about 10 pips, right? Because you're just scalping it really quickly. So if you were to scalp this GJ, looks like it's about to hit full TP right there. Nice. Yeah. So Billy said that's the scalp I grabbed. Awesome, dude. So yeah, you caught this off the 10-minute and it looks great so far. It looks like it's about to hit TP right there. I mean, depending on where your TP is, if it's 10 pips, if it's 15 pips, I mean, either one works. But I mean, yeah, it just depends on how you would how you would set it up. But either way, if it was 10 or 15 pips, it's still in profit. So it looks pretty nice, Billy. Yeah, that's a nice catch. You know, this is what I mean about like the, oh, nice. So Billy's going for 10 pips. Yeah. So this is what I mean about if you guys learn the strategy, you guys can do it all on your own, right? So I'm not looking at GJ all the time. Billy over here likes to trade GJ. So he saw this right here and he's about to catch that scalp. And, you know, Billy's one of the guys that's been killing it as well in K2. So if I, you know, I don't know, let's see if we can scroll over here. If I could find some of Billy's trades. Because I do document every month trades. Like, you know, if you guys want me to share your trades in the public group, just send them over to me or send them in any of the groups and I'll save them here because I have all the saved trades here from everybody. So here's Billy right here. You can see his name. Billy locked in like some pretty nice profits off these scalps here. He likes to scalp GJ. You can tell, obviously, 198 off that, EJ, and then US 30. He took some more over here as well, GJ, US 30. And, you know, Billy's been killing it. So, you know, if you guys want access to the indicators, it's available to you guys. But, you know, like I mentioned, it's not required that you use the indicators. You know, the opportunity there, it's up to you whether you want to take the opportunity or not. You can either watch us make profits and copy my trades as I call them, or you can take these trades on your own. It's just really up to you guys, you know, how you guys want to take these trades. So Amanda, the TP stop loss for GJ right here is going to be, take profit's going to be 146.658 and the stop loss is going to be 146.458. But I wouldn't enter it right now, Amanda. You're kind of late. It's already halfway to full TP. So by the time you enter this trade, you're going to have to cover spread. And if your spread's too wide, you're going to get caught in a nasty position if that becomes the case. So I wouldn't enter this here, Amanda. You know, just wait for the next entry. I don't know if you have the indicators or if, you know, if you've been following the trades, but this is the TP stop loss for this trade that Billy took. So it looks good so far, Billy. You know, I'm rooting for you. We got to let this hit TP for you. And it's not too far. Price is only about, let's see, it's only like 4 pips away from full TP. So you're almost there, Billy. Just give it a little more time and you should be solid. There you go. It's pushing up even further and further as we speak. All right, so let me see what else we got over here. All right, Ferris said, yeah, I heard about the holiday thing, so I kind of didn't bother watching the live. Ended up doing some work. All good, though. Yeah, definitely, Ferris. It's no problem. You know, if you miss these trades, and we're going to have more. It's not like this is the only trades we're going to be taking today. So this GJ looks good. Let me go back to NASDAQ real quick. Nice. The NASDAQ's still pushing up. I'll just set an alert at TP. So if it does hit TP, we'll get alerted. I can look over it with you guys. So scalp, full TP. I'll just set an alert off that. And then same with GJ over here. I'll set an alert at full TP over here. So I'll just call this Billy scalp. So GJ, Billy scalp, TP. So that we can go back and check it out, right? Nice. So Billy just sent me his profits right now. This is the GJ trade he just called out. Nice. So he's up 148 right now off that. So that's looking pretty good. He took the US 30 call that we took earlier. TP's on that. His euro odd that I called last night. Profits on that. And his own odd USD trade right here. All in profit. Nothing but blue screens right here. So nice work, Billy. And, you know, Billy's here in the chat. You can see him talking in the chat. So, you know, he's taking these trades on his own. If you guys want access to the indicators, you guys can grab access to them. You know, otherwise you guys can hang around, just, you know, see what we're doing here. So I have those set up right there. I have the alert set up for GJ. Looks like you're doing pretty good with that, Billy. And I'll keep following you as it continues to push on. I just saw CT's message in the group. CT said, yeah, no thanks. I guess he's not trying to take this. Okay, so this USD CAD, I forgot who asked about this earlier, but if you took this USD CAD right here, it's about to hit full TP. It's on its way down. I forgot who asked about it in the chat, but it's looking good so far. Let me go back to Euro Odd real quick. Euro Odd's looking pretty decent right here as well. It's moving down to TP. Meanwhile, you know, we'll just keep watching it. We'll see how it plays out from there. Otherwise, I think that's about it for now. Let me see if there's any other questions as we continue on. Nice. So Sam said another snipe off SPX 10 minutes. So let's pull up SPX again real quick. Nice. So there's another entry right here, guys. So there's one entry that was over here. I mean, there's a bunch of entries right here. There's one right here that's technically active right now that I just looked at for Sam. And then Sam actually spotted this one again right here. So this red candle right here, there's a rejection off the pivot and the structure. So if you guys want to take this scalp right here, this is currently active as well. I mean, it's too late for me to enter. I wish I would have saw it early. If I saw it early, I would have taken it, but it's just too late for me to take it right now. Currently in profit. So if you took any of these 4 scalps right here for S&P, actually this hit full TP already. So this one, this first scalp right here hit full TP. That's done. This one right here as well hit full TP. So these first 2 scalps right here, they both hit full TP. The third one right here is currently in profit, still active. And then this one right here that Sam just identified, this other entry right here, it's currently in profit as well. So nice work, Sam. If you caught all these trades, or even if you just caught these 2, they both look pretty nice so far. So we'll have to wait and see how they play out. Yeah, if it comes back down, maybe I'll enter it late, but I think currently at this time, I'll just wait for it to play out for you. Let's see. Samurai said GU is strong and UJ looks strong. So GJ should go long intraday looking at strength. So yeah, let me pull up GJ real quick. Yeah, it's super bullish right here. So it's super bullish. This is probably going to keep pushing up to this next structure above here. Right. So that's pretty much it from this point right here. This is probably going to keep pushing up. And then, you know, best case scenario, it ends up pushing up all the way up there. And here's Billy's alert right here. You guys can see on my screen. I have his alert, GJ Billy scalp full TP. It's almost there, Billy. So we'll keep watching for your scalp, and then we'll see how that ends up playing out from there. Nice. So NTO Kozo, I'm not sure if you took the NASDAQ scalp that I was looking at earlier, but it looks like you made some nice profit off that. So let me just pull this up over here. See the NASDAQ real quick. So yeah, NASDAQ is pretty nice in profit right now. So it looks like NTO over here, he took the NASDAQ trade. He's in profit right now, 46, 46, 46, 45, 54. So a total of 146 ZAR. So looks good so far off your trade, bro. I'm not sure if you took my trade or if you took it on your own. I mean, either way, congrats on that. So you're making profit off that trade as well. And this is a public chat, guys. So, you know, if you guys aren't in the premium, you guys still have access to the public group as well, if you guys want to follow that. So NASDAQ looks good. I mean, everyone's looking good. I haven't seen anyone take any losses today. Everyone's doing pretty good so far. So let me see if there's anything else here as we continue. Yeah, here's Harry on another account. Let's see. So show the actual entry on MT4. Okay. So the only trades that I took were the US 30 trades, right? So Harry, or I don't know, what do you want me to call you? Abinash. Okay, the entries right here, right? US 30, price, TP, profit. I don't know what else to show you, bro. So this trade right here, we took this trade. I don't know, do I need to talk to you slower so you could understand? But okay, so you want to see the trade that we took here. Okay, let me just go really slow-mo for you so you can see. Abinash or whatever, or Harry, I don't know which person are you, but we took this entry right here, right? Entry point right there. My trade right there. Entry point, TP, profit. Okay, Abinash. I don't know what else to tell you, bro. I mean, this is what I was talking about earlier, guys. We have people here that just want to come and talk shit, and then they have nothing else to prove for it. I mean, they could probably never trade live like how I do every day. They just come to the room and talk, you know. It doesn't really matter to me. Yeah, Avinash. Okay, whatever. And then for NASDAQ over here, Billy took this trade, right? So he took this trade. Let's check out Billy's thing over here. All right, so Billy sent his trade over here. There's his trade, right? He took, where's the other trade at? Oh, his GJ, actually, it was in NASDAQ. It was GJ over here. So Billy took this trade right here, right? Entry point, 146.558. Let me show you Billy's trade over here. 146, right? 146.558, 146.569, and he just got it off a little earlier. I mean, I don't know what else to show you, bro. Like, okay, I don't know what to tell you, bro. Like, we get a lot of idiots in this group, dude, that come out of nowhere and just start talking out of their ass. Like, bro, get your head out of your ass, bro. Like, just because you can't trade and we're over here profiting doesn't mean that you're like, and whatever you're saying, like, means anything, right? Because I just showed you exactly. I showed you I took that US 30 trade and exactly. I know, like, why are you here then? Why are you here complaining if you don't believe it? You're here copying my trades, making money off my trades, and then you're here just complaining. So I took this US 30 trade. I'll show you it again. Right, like right over here. Like, honestly, I don't know what to show you guys, right? I honestly don't know what to go over here. Yeah, exactly. John said, Shawn, you shouldn't waste time on these people. They come in every day and have trust issues. Yeah, exactly. Honestly, I don't know, guys. I don't care what anyone has to say, because if we're profiting, that's all that matters. It's not, I mean, you're literally a nobody here. You're in my room trying to talk all this like nonsense when everyone here is profiting. I don't understand, like, where do the complaints come from, you know? Yeah, Joey said people on here talking ish rather than spending the time. Abnesh, bro, who TF said you want to copy your trade? Okay, then why are you here then, bro? Honestly, I don't know why you're here. You're here just to complain? Exactly. Yeah, Avinash, you can't do any of this, bro. Like, everyone here is profiting K2. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, bro. Billy, yeah, Billy said he's a clown. I mean, he is a clown, obviously. You show so many setup, but take one. Oh my God, Avinash, you're so slow, bro. Come on. I just told you that I wanted to take this trade, but I missed the entry, dude, so I didn't take the trade. Avinash is so dumb, dude. Avinash, you're so slow, bro. I mean, you just made yourself look like an idiot, because if you go and rewind the live stream, you can go and rewind the live stream. I said I wanted to take these trades, but I missed the entry, so I didn't take them, right? Okay, bro, I didn't take the trade. Other people here took the trade because I was calling the NASDAQ, and other people took the trade, but I couldn't take it because I was busy answering questions. Dude, I mean, it's too funny, guys. Like, I never said I took this NASDAQ trade. I never said I took S&P. I was just calling trades for you guys because other people here took those trades. I like, honestly, I don't know where this even comes from, guys. Like, people are here mad because other people are making profit. People are winning. Well, like, these people come in here and they're just losing. I honestly, I don't know what else to tell you guys. I mean, so I can be anywhere I want. All right, bro, go ahead. Yeah, if you want to sit in here, bro, you're fine. You know, just be quiet. That's all that matters. Like, I don't mind if you're sitting in the room and copying my trades or trying to look at my analysis or try to copy my strategy or whatever you're here to do. I just don't understand where your complaints are coming from, bro. I really don't understand where these complaints are coming from. All right, whatever. Anyways, we'll keep watching this, and then I just saw Jensel's message up there, and you guys crack me up in the chat, guys. Like, I'm literally here giving free advice, giving free trades, and then we still have people here that come and complain. Like, I don't understand, like, where do these complaints come from? I'm not charging you guys to sit in on these live streams. I'm literally just answering questions, giving trades out, taking trades myself. Yet we have people come in here and want to complain about stuff. All right, whatever. It's all good. I don't really care. But yeah, let me see if there's anything else here before we continue on. I just find this really funny, guys, because it's like we just had to deal with Harry, and then Abinash comes over here all of a sudden to complain even more. All right, so let me continue. Let me see what else we've got over here. Alan said, Shawn, you're the real deal. Ignore these idiots. Yeah, exactly. Flynn said, this hater complains more than my ex-girlfriend. Billionaire said, don't waste time on these haters, Shawn. Yeah, guys. I mean, it's just funny to me, guys. Like, I really don't I really don't care like what everyone says, because regardless, we're gonna keep making profits whether people hate or not. I mean, they can keep hating. You know, they're too busy hating when they could have just been trading with us and making profit. But it's all good. Honestly, I don't care. Let's see what the next one is here. Okay, so Greg wants me to take a look at OddCAD, please, bro. So let me pull up OddCAD real quick. Man, today has been a weird day, right? How many people have come in here to complain? And we've just had wins today. I don't understand. Like, if there's losses, okay, I can see some complaints coming, but I don't really see people that I don't understand where the complaints are coming from, honestly. All right, so let's pull up the K2sr right here. All right, the first is I'm gonna analyze it from scratch for you, Greg, so that we can continue on from here. You know, guys, it's funny because I'm pretty sure that was Harry. Harry just came back because he felt embarrassed after everyone went against him earlier when he was saying whatever he was saying earlier. He came on with another username to just talk more mess. It's all good, guys. I mean, you know, if we have haters, you know, obviously we're doing something right, because like people only hate on people that are doing better than them. Like, you don't see me here hating on people that suck at trading. I mean, if you suck at trading, that's cool. You can learn, you can get better. But the only people that hate are people that suck at what they're doing. They just get mad at people that are doing better than them. It's a waste of energy, guys. There's no point in hating. Like, it doesn't matter if I'm winning, if I'm losing. If you guys are winning, that's fine with me. I'm not going to hate because you guys are doing better than me. It just makes no sense to me, guys. Okay, so looking at OddCAD right here, Greg. So we do have a sell bias right here because we do have this candle that broke off this structure. So we have a rejection off this point. We have a sell signal, but I probably wouldn't take OddCAD until it breaks below here. So I don't want this to break below here for me to take this sell. Because you can see the last time that it broke below here. So for example, right here, we have the rejection off here. We have the sell signal right here. It broke and closed past structure. And then you can see that this would have been a nice sell right there for like a small little move, like 30 pips or so. OddCAD doesn't really move that much. I think our sweet spot for OddCAD is like 30 pips. So if you took that trade right there, that would have been a full TP. And you know, obviously in the reverse direction over here, rejection off this, we have a buy signal right here, breaks and closes past structure, and then it just pushes up eventually. So it goes both ways, obviously. But right now we have a sell bias. So we're just waiting for, we're just looking at this over here. Let me just see this real quick. All right, so just looking at this over here, we have the rejection off this point, sell signal. I mean, technically you could take these little trades here, but I wouldn't take them because these are a lot of rejection points, right? So I would wait for it to close. I know this is a big drop down here, and it's about like 50 pips. So we're probably not going to, you know, have any like decent entries, maybe until it drops to here. Actually, this is probably the better option. If it closes below here, then we can take a sell entry from that point, and then take this from this point. But I wouldn't take it from where it currently is, because price right now, it's currently rejecting off this zone. So there's a couple things that can happen here. This can come right back down and then close below here. Then you could take a sell. Vice versa, price can reject off this point, shoot up here. And then if this happens right here, you can take a buy position over here, right, Greg? So, I mean, currently we have a bearish bias right here. But like I mentioned, it's stuck within these zones. So there's not really much for us to really do right here, because price can easily reject off this point. Like this can happen. That's scenario number one. It comes back up. We get a buy signal and it shoots this way. Or it rejects off this structure and comes down further from here. So I personally wouldn't trade OddCAD right now. Let me just pull up the index for this real quick. We have the Aussie index over here. And then we have the Canadian index. So the problem with this here is that they're both bullish, right? You can see that the Aussie index is bullish, the Canadian index is bullish. And with that said, this is probably just going to go sideways for a bit until it ends up changing. So like, for example, here, we would need the Aussie, like, so if you want to take a sell here, you're going to want the Canadian index to continue going up, and then you're going to want the Aussie index to go down. Because the way that this moves is, if you want this to go up, that would mean that the first currency would have to be stronger than the second currency. So for example, for that, if you wanted that to go up, you need Aussie to go up and the Canadian index to go down. And then vice versa, if you want this to go downwards, then you would want the Aussie index to come down and the Canadian index to go up. Because here's the example. When price is going up, that means that the first currency is stronger than the second currency. And then vice versa, when price is coming down, that means that the second currency is stronger than the first currency. So just keep that in mind. It's like a seesaw, right? So this is the way I look at it. So if you look at this right here, it's like a seesaw. If the weight's going down on the Aussie right here and the Aussie's strong, it's going to go up. If the weight's going down on the Canadian dollar over here, then price is going to head down. But the problem with the indexes right now that they're both bullish. See how they're both going up? Since they're both going up right here, there's not going to be an imbalance in power. So when there's no imbalance, price just goes sideways for a bit. So I think odd CAD will go sideways for a bit until one of these flops one way or the other. So I would just keep looking at the indexes here. I'm not sure what position you're in, Greg, but it just really depends on which direction you're looking at. So if you're looking at this for a sell, then you just want to look at the index, make sure that the Canadian dollar keeps going up and the Aussie index goes down, and then vice versa. If you're looking for a buy, just look for the opposite. And that's pretty much it. But I personally wouldn't trade it right now because it's just going to go sideways for a bit, up until there becomes an imbalance between the two currencies. So that's pretty much all that for that. Let me see if there's anything else here to look at before we continue on. So that's it for for odd CAD. Let me see if there's any other questions here in the chat. All right, so let me scroll down over here. And then it's just funny, guys. It's funny that there's like all of this stuff going on in the chat. Yeah, Shawn GST said, "Bro, do you? We going to the moon? Just forget them." Yeah, exactly. I just find it funny, guys, when people come in. C6 said, yeah, no, CC, I agree with you as well in the chat. Yeah, all right, cool. So I think that's it for the questions right now. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and I can answer any other questions that you guys have. And then and we'll see. I think I missed a lot of stuff. Actually, no. Yeah. All right, guys. So I think that's it for the questions right now. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at these other pairs here to see if there's any entries available. So there's nothing here for US 30. Obviously, we want this to drop down to the structure. Let me see if there's any new structures so no new structures here for the Dow 30. We're pretty much just waiting for this to come down, reject off the pivot and off the SR level so that we can take this trade here. So other than that, let's see if we can pull up the other ones here. Yeah, so Rich is asking about NASDAQ. So I think we had a NASDAQ marked up here. Let me just pull it up real quick. Yeah, so NASDAQ's coming down right now off this. I mean, it's just pulling down. It's pulling back a little bit. I don't think it's going to drop that heavy. Let me see if there's any news. So I don't think there's going to be much news today because the market's technically closed. I mean, the stock market's closed. The futures market is open, obviously, but the stock market's closed. So there's like no updates here for the NASDAQ. But other than that, I mean, there's not really much to look at here. There's an entry here that was available, Rich, for NASDAQ. I didn't take this trade. There's some people in the chat that did take it though, because I did call it off the live, but I personally didn't take it myself. Here, let's see. Let's see. Ivan said KG trailer FTMO challenge account still didn't hit full TP. Do you think I should close it manually? So US 30 here. Let's see. So what was the TP for that? So the screenshot. Yeah, that's weird because mine's closed, Ivan, but let me check. So the TP for that was 31683. Let me pull up the FTMO real quick. Let me pull up US 30. I thought it reached that point. I'm not sure if 31683. Yeah, that's weird. I don't know why. Oh yeah. So Ivan, we were going over that in the live session. So I'm not sure if Ivan, if you're in this live session, but I did mention that it was off by 10 pips. That's why we reduced it by 10 pips. If you go and rewind the live session, what I did was I calculated it, right? So I calculated that it was less than 10 pips, and that's why we entered the lower amount. So here, I'll just mention that there was a 10 pip difference. So we subtracted the difference. That's how I got out. All right, I'm just responding to Ivan real quick. So yeah, NASDAQ right here. Oh, I should have just taken this trade. So it did come back down to entry right here. I wasn't paying attention, but yeah, I mean, it's going to swing back up. It's still technically active right here. So yeah, Rich, it's the same position that we looked at right here. Technically, there's another position that's producing right here as well, because we do have this rejection off this structure right here. And we have a rejection off the yellow pivot. So this yellow pivot right here, this green candle is rejecting off the pivot, and it's rejecting off the structure right here. So with that said, it's going to provide for another long entry right over there. I mean, if you decide to take it, or if you just want to enter late on this previous entry, you can do that as well. I was waiting for it to come down so I could enter it, but I missed it. So this, I mean, we'll have to wait and see what plays out. Let's see, Samurai said still looks good. Might drop a little first though. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, Samurai. This might come down and test the other pivot down here. But I mean, who knows? When you least expect it, it just ends up skyrocketing, right? It happens all the time. And you guys got to keep in mind that it is 9 o'clock, so it's getting towards like mid-market. The market's technically closed right now, but people are still trading the futures. So that's why price is moving. It's just moving very slow at this time. But yeah, pretty much for NASDAQ, we still have a buy bias for this right here, Rich. So I'm not sure if you want to enter this, but it's still technically active. It pushed up in profit slightly, then it came back down. Then it looks like it's rejecting off the structure, ready to swing right back up. But yeah, this is a trade that you would take at your own risk. I don't trade NASDAQ, so I'm not sure exactly if this is going to play out as we anticipate. But I mean, if it does, great. If not, it's fine. All right, so let me go back to US 30 real quick. I'm just waiting for that entry to come back up. Yeah, so it's coming back down right now, which is fine. We're just going to wait for this on US 30. And then we're just going to see as this comes down, test the structure in the pivot, and then coming up from here. So that's all we're looking for right here on US 30, obviously. But yeah, other than that, I think that's about it. Unless you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, the market's just really slow today. So I'm probably going to stay on until 10 a.m. or maybe like a little bit before that for the 4-hour candle close. I'll see if there's any Forex entries. If not, then we'll just be signing off for the day. And then, just a reminder, if you guys want to sit in on my mentoring sessions, let me see. I have one today at 3 o'clock with Vashti, and then I have another one at 5 with Mersabah. So if you guys want to sit in on those sessions, or it's probably just going to be the 3 p.m. one. I have one mentoring session that's coming up at 3 p.m. with Vashti. If you guys want to sit in on that, that's in about 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, in about 6 hours from now. So 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you guys want to sit in on that, I don't necessarily share the link to that mentoring session, but if you guys follow the YouTube channel and if you guys like the videos and turn on notifications, then YouTube will know that you want to watch my videos. So whenever I go live about 3 to 5 times a day. But I only post the link for the live trading session. If you guys want to sit in on the other sessions, just make sure to have your notifications turned on YouTube and that you guys are subscribed to the channel. That way, YouTube knows that you want to watch my videos and they will send you an email whenever I go live. So just keep that in mind, guys, for you guys that want to sit in on the sessions and you guys aren't premium members, because obviously I have one-on-one sessions with the premium members and you guys are free to sit in on them to see how I mentor people one-on-one. So just looking at US 30 right here, I mean, this is technically going to be the daily entry if we have the sell signal that closes right here. What I would like to do is I'd like to look at the sentiment to see where people are trading. If the majority of people are short, then I probably wouldn't want to take that short position because it's probably going to do the opposite. So yeah, 72% of people are short. If you guys were following US 30 with me this entire week, like from yesterday market open, this was actually at like 68 to 66, I mean, 78 to 76%. So you can see that people are moving from short to long. And the reason for that is that because people are getting stopped out. Like for example, here, when market opened over here, the sentiment was about 78% short, right? So what happens is when price comes up, it stops people out, right? Everyone that's in their short positions, they get stopped out. And what do you think they do from that point? They swap to a buy position. So this is where it gets a little tricky because as people switch over to buy positions, the institutions and market makers know that. So they're currently pushing price up. But as soon as sentiment changes, once this goes from bearish to bullish, they're probably going to spike price the other direction, right? They're going to push it downwards to stop everyone out in that direction. So you guys have to remember not to don't trade like the sheep. I don't trade like how everyone else is trading. Make sure to look for the inconsistencies in the market and to generally trade against the sentiment because you just don't want to trade where the majority of people are trading or you're probably going to get burnt like everyone else. So just keep that in mind. Other than that, yeah, I think we're pretty much done for the questions right now. So if you guys have any other questions, if you guys want me to analyze anything, just put it in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to look through the Forex pairs and see if there's any entries available that we can take off the next 4-hour candle close. So I'm just going to go through these one by one. There's no entry there. There's no entry here. So if there's an entry, I'll explain like why we have an entry there. For example, here we have price break structure over here. We had a rejection off this point, buy signal, break and close past structure right here. It provided for a buy entry here for odd JPY. That's what we're basically looking for right now as well off this next candle close. So same thing right here for odd NZD. We have a buy signal here. We have price break and close past structure right here, and it provides for a buy entry in this direction. However, for myself, I don't enter trades late. Like if the trade's already in profit like this, I don't enter late because it can easily come back down to any point, right? And I'm not going to risk that. So that's odd NZD. Odd USD right here. Technically, this would be an entry right here. The reason why I wouldn't take it though is because it's too close to the next zone over here. I usually like about a 30 pip gap between the open area and the next zone. And the reason for that is because there's only 10 pips right here, right? So the main issue with that is that you have to pay the spread going in and out, and price can easily reject off this point right here and then stop you out if it ends up swinging downwards, right? So it's not something that I want to take just yet. I would take this trade if it ends up closing above here. So if it ends up closing above here, we have a bullish signal over here indicating a momentum upwards. If it closes above here, then I would take a buy signal from that point and then write it up from there. However, at this point, it's just too risky for us to take this trade. It's not something that I look at, at this current moment in time. So let's go to CAD CHF. Nothing here. I don't want this to close and break above this structure before I take that trade. CAD JPY. If you guys took this trade the other day, then this would have hit full TP. Because obviously the rejection from this point, buy signal, it was above structure, so it pushed up higher and it hit TP right there. We didn't take that trade, but that's one that you could have taken. Same situation right here for CHF JPY. We have the rejection off this structure. We have the buy signal right here. It broke and closed past structure right here. So with that said, there's a buy entry available right there, but I didn't take this trade. It's just too risky. So I didn't take that one. This is our trade that's currently active. I did call this last night. So I called this trade yesterday at 10 p.m. last night. It's currently in profit right now, and it's on its way to TP1 right here as we speak. So next one, Euro CAD, no entry there. We want price to come and break below the structure before we take that trade. Euro CHF, nothing here as well. We might have a rejection off this point, or it might come down further. It just really depends on, where price ends up moving from this point. EG, this trade was, it's technically a trade right here that was active. There's a rejection from this point. There was a sell signal right here. And then a break and close past structure right here for a sell entry. So that's pretty much it for that right there on EG, EJ. This was an entry right here. We didn't take it, unfortunately. It's the same strategy right here. So we have the rejection from this point. We have the buy signal right here. We have the break and close past structure right here. And then it pushed up from there. Unfortunately, we didn't take the trade. It just looked like a risky trade to me. So I decided not to take it last night. Euro NZD, no entry there. Euro USD. I think a lot of people are looking for some buys here, right? I don't like to trade within the zone, so I wouldn't take this trade. But if you guys did want to take it, there's a rejection from this point. There's a buy signal right here. Price broken close past this structure right here. So it would provide for a buy entry right there if you wanted to take it. I personally don't like trading within the zones because you can see right here, obviously price rejects off these points pretty easily. So I like trading in the open space right here. Like this is an example where I would have taken a trade. We have the rejection from this point. We have the sell signal right here. We have the break and close past structure right here. And this would have been a nice short entry right there, right? So same situation right here. I don't want this to come, I want it to either break above here or swing back down here for me to take an entry. But currently right now for Euro USD, there's just nothing really to take at this point. You guys got to keep in mind that it is a US holiday, so the market is slow. We're probably not going to see very many entries until Asia session or until tomorrow. So GA over here, we have a buy signal. So we do have the rejection off this point. We have the buy signal right here. The breaking close past structure right here. So for GA, this would have been an entry. The reason why I didn't want to take this yesterday is because it goes opposite of the Euro odd sell that we took earlier. So that's pretty much the entry there for GA, but there's no entry available right now. You see nothing there. UCHF, nothing there as well. It's just going sideways, not something that I want to take. GJ, like I mentioned earlier, it's pushing up right here. It looks like it pulled back a little bit, so some retracement off that. Billy did mention GJ came back down to the 15-minute zone, showed rejection off the zone and pivot. If it rejects off the next candle, looks good. I should have closed in profit, but last trade stopped me out at break even. Yeah, definitely, Billy. I mean, it's really it's risky, especially during this time during a holiday, because you're not really sure how it's going to be moving, right? You're just kind of going as is. Let me see if there's an entry here. Okay, nothing there, but let me pull a GJ again for you real quick. Just look at the trade that you took earlier. So you took GJ right here. Yeah, I mean, it got close to full TP right there, but now it's just retracing down a little bit. You know, this happens, especially when when there's a holiday, you just see unusual market movement where it spikes around a little bit. However, if this rejects off this point, you should be fine. But yeah, it is a little risky for this specific trade. So let me go ahead and see what else we got up over here. Here, let's go back to the NASDAQ over here. So the NASDAQ trade is still looking fine right here for whoever took it earlier. Yeah, for that GJ, you should probably just exit in profit when you can, Billy, because it's just risky right now. The market's not fully open, so like you're just not gonna see much volatility. You're gonna see a lot of price going back and forth. So I'm being like pretty careful with my trades right now. I'm not really focused on one way or the other. I mean, if I see an entry, I'll take it, but other than that, I'm probably gonna hold off. And I'm not gonna force any trades, obviously. So let me see if there's anything else that we have to look at here. I think I looked at GU, GN, NZD CAD. So it doesn't look like there's any new Forex entries that are going to be available right now, guys. The reason for that is because of the slow market conditions. Like for example, here for USD CHF, we want price to break below here to take this trade, but it hasn't broken below there anytime soon, right? I mean, it doesn't look like it's going to, at least. This is going to need about it's like a 50 pip drop. Probably not going to happen anytime soon, especially with the US markets closed today. Same with UJ over here. Like I mentioned, it's just going to go sideways. And that's pretty much what's happening right here. No entries available. But yeah, look at our NZD, our NASDAQ trade right here. It looks like it's about to hit. It's pushing up higher and higher as we speak. Looks good for the most part. So if you guys did take that trade, it looks great. Obviously, like I mentioned, I didn't take that trade, but we will we'll continue. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm probably going to log off soon. It's getting close to 10. So the market volatility is just getting lower and lower since the US market is closed today. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, just put them in the chat. I can analyze anything for you guys before I log off. Otherwise, I'll be live again later today, about 3 p.m. my time, in about 6 hours for the next mentoring session with Vashti. So if you guys want to sit in on that, just make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel and that you guys turn on notifications. That way, YouTube will email you when I go live later. because I'm not going to post that live in the groups. But other than that, guys, so I'll sit around for a bit. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, we will we'll be waiting for it. Yeah, I'm going to see if there's any pivot entries here actually, or using the snipe strategy on the 4 hour, because I've seen a lot of people use it and it looks pretty decent. Yeah, so looking for odd cat over here. Eunice is asking, do you analyze exotic Forex pairs? I can. So Eunice, do you have a specific pair that you want me to look at? I can take a look for you if there's one that you like. I mean, the analysis works for anything. It doesn't just work for normal Forex pairs. It works for any Forex pair. It works for stocks. It works for futures. It works for commodities. It works for indices. It works for everything. There's really no specific one. All right, cool. So you want me to take a look at the Euro Turkish Lira. So let me pull that up real quick. So here, try. All right. So looking at the Euro Turkish Lira, so like looking at this here, I'm gonna zoom out. I'm gonna use the same analysis that I've done for everything else. I turn on the K2sr, and then I draw my zones. So let's do that first. We have a zone above here. We have a zone below here. Zone below here. Drops down right here. You just create one big zone right there because it's these zones overlap. So when they overlap like that, it makes sense for us to just connect them. And price is so far down here, so these zones don't even really matter up here because price isn't going to come up there anytime soon. So just looking at this here, the Euro versus the Turkish Lira. So we have those zones. We want to get the lower zone as well, just to identify where the bottom is, right? Where the floor is at. So the floor is right here. Hey, Hamizan. Haven't seen you all day. I think it's opposite time over there, right? It's nighttime where you're at. So looking at the Euro Turkish Lira right here, once we have this drawn up, you guys can see how nicely these zones identify rejection points, right? So price is currently right here below the zone. And you can see the last time it was below the zone was back in August. So it's a pretty smooth move for the Turkish Lira against the Euro. But just looking at this here, I'm going to turn on the momentum indicator. Obviously, we have a sell momentum. I'm sure of it. So yeah, it played out perfectly here. So the same analysis that I have for any other Forex pairs, it's the same exact thing. Like for example, here we have the rejection off the structure. We have the sell signal right here. We have the break and close past structure right here. And then you would take a short position right there, right? Pretty much write it to the next structure down here. And then you can see the same thing again right here. We have the rejection, sell signal right here, break and close past structure. And then it drops below here again as well. So it's the same situation again right here. Eunice, like same thing right here. We have the break and close past structure right here. So odds are this is probably going to continue pushing down further and further. I mean, the only problem with this is that it's just, I mean, exotics are kind of, I think this one specifically, the Euro versus the Turkish Lira, this does get manipulated sometimes, more so than other exotics. But I think for this specifically, this looks like this is probably going to drop further down here. It looks like a break and retest, right? It looks like it broke structure. It retested. And then it's going to come right back down from there. So I would have a bearish bias off this. Eunice, if you want to take this trade, I mean, it looks like it's going to be a sell, obviously, right? And then, one way to look at that is just look at the index. I think the Euro index is closed right now. I don't know why it's closed at this time because the market is technically open. And it's weird because the dollar index is moving, but the Euro index is just frozen right now. See if I go on the 4 hour. Yeah, it hasn't moved since the 12th. So it hasn't moved since last week. I'm not sure what's going on with the Euro index, but I mean, this looks like it's going to continue down further and further. So if you're in a trade for this, Eunice, I think you're better off if you're in a sell. But you'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. It is a U.S. holiday, like I mentioned, so volatility is going to be low. But this is basically what I see playing out from this point right here. All right, so that's pretty much it for the Euro Lira. Next up, we've got Skinny Boy said GU. I'm a long position. Oh yeah, definitely Skinny Boy. So let me pull up GU for you real quick. So you're in a long position. That's pretty good because I think it's going to push up. So let me just go over here real quick. GU. Yeah, so you're pretty solid, bro. I think it's going to push up to here. So yeah, you got in at here. I'm just going to put your entry over here. And I think it's going to keep pushing up even further. So your entry point was at 1.39105. Oh, you got in kind of high. All right, so just looking at GU right here, I mean, obviously it's going to be hard to look at on the 4 hour. So let's look on the short time frame to see if there's any scalps. So we'll go here on the 30-minute. We'll go over to GU real quick. All right, so GU right here on the 30-minute. Let me check the zones real quick, see if there's any zones below. So there's not really any zones right here. You know, we'll check this out real quick, and then after this, we'll go over to the 10-minute. So just looking at current price right here on the 30-minute, I mean, obviously there was no entries that were available here for a scalp. Aside from this, this red one right here, or no, technically no. But I mean, it still looks bullish to me. So right here on the 4 hour, looks super bullish to me. Right here on the 30-minute, I mean, it still looks pretty bullish to me. There's just no entries available off that. I'll pull it up on the 10-minute now, and we'll see if there's any scalps up in your direction. I mean, there probably was. I do think there's a bullish bias. Let me look at the sentiment real quick as well. All right, so GU sentiment looks like there's 66% of people are short, so it's kind of good that you're on the long side where less people are. It's probably going to keep pushing up from that point. So we have this on the 10-minute right here. I'm going to draw some zones off this. And then a zone right here. There, and then we got another one right over here. All right, so just looking at this here, it looks like there is a, I mean, there's a scalp that was just available right here. So this might be what you looked at, right, Skinny Boy? So it looks like there's a rejection. There's actually, if this red candle right here closes right there too, there'd be another entry point right there. So this looks pretty solid for the most part. I mean, the last entry would have been, yeah, this green one right here. So just looking at that from this point, I think the sweet spot scalp is like 10 pips for a 10-minute time frame. So I'm not sure if you're scalping this or you're trying to go for a longer move. But I mean, it's setting up for a buy entry right there, right? It already has. It's there's a buy entry that's technically active if you decided to scalp this. And then on the 4 hour, I mean, obviously has a bullish bias right here. We have a buy signal. And then Samurai said GU 15-minute wicking zone. All right, cool. So let me pull that up real quick too. So GU 15-minute. I might just have to create a 15-minute chart since you guys like the 15-minute chart so much, huh? I think 15-minute probably works better for Forex anyways, because the 10 minutes kind of too tight. So let's see, we have the zone up here. Oh yeah, so it's wicking off perfectly, just like Samurai mentioned. So I got these zones right here lined up. I'm going to hide this right there. All right, cool. So yeah, just looking at this right here, I mean, there's a bunch of entries that are available right here. If you were to catch these scalps right here of GU on the 15-minute, this actually looks a lot smoother than the 10-minute. So there's some scalps right there. Another one right there, a couple right there. There's a bunch of scalps. So you can see wherever the wick rejects off the pivot in the structure, that would be a scalp entry. So just looking at current price over here, it looks like there's two scalp entries right now. This green candle and this red candle right here. So if you took this green candle right here, it would, you know, it'd still be active right now. Active, but in some drawdown, which is fine. You know, drawdown happens. It's not something that you can necessarily always avoid. Looks like it pushed up in profit slightly, then it came back a little bit. And then there's another entry right here, this red candle right next to it, which is just in some slight drawdown as well. I mean, it's not horrible. Obviously, you know, it's not that bad, but it is right there. So this trade is still technically active off that. And then if this ends up closing below here, or this wick starts to close above it, we have about 4 minutes left on this candle. So it's a lot of time. I mean, yeah, there's entries on the 15-minute. There's also entries on the 10-minute over here. So I think for the most part, it should swing back up. But, you know, like I mentioned, it is a US holiday and this is a US pair. So it's probably going to move slow. The reason for this volatility right here is because we're ending London session. You know, it's about to switch over from this point. And then, and we'll just see how it moves in Asia session, right? You're probably not going to see much movement as London closes. We're getting close to London closure. And then the US market's closed. So the market's just going to be slow from now until later. And that's why I'm going to take a break, because there's really not much for us, like nothing for us to really look at this point with the market moving so slow. But yeah, I think it should be fine, Skinny Boys. Just, I would just hold on to it. I wouldn't be too worried about it. But I mean, if it ends up hitting stop loss, it's fine. You'll just take it in the other direction, right? I'm not sure if you're taking a big move, because if you're taking a big move, I think eventually it's going to push up. Just looking at this here, we'll pull up the GU index. So we have the BXY right here, and then we have the dollar index right here. You can see that the pound is strong, right? So the pound is going up and the DXY is going down. So with that said, if this continues to push in this direction, this continues to push in this direction, then you can see this continue pushing up as well. So it's just a slow move right now. It's not, you know, this is happening because the US market's closed and the London market's coming to a close right now as well. So just keep that in mind. But I would personally just hold on to it. If you have a bigger stop loss, I think you'll be perfectly fine, because I think overall it's going to keep pushing. And just looking at the indexes over here, I mean, it's just going to keep going sideways if they're still bullish. This is a bullish candle and this is a bullish candle. So they're going to go sideways up until this continues pushing and this continues dropping. So that's it for GU right there. Let me see if there's anything else. Eunice said, thank you for your webinar. Very helpful. Goodbye. Yeah, definitely, Eunice. No problem. Let's see if there's anything else over here. All right, let me check. So Shawn wants me to take a look at odd JPY. I'll pull that up real quick. So odd JPY. Here, I'll just analyze it from scratch because I don't remember how I analyzed this earlier. I've analyzed so many pairs, so I don't really focus on that. But anyways, let me draw my zones down here real quick. It's like US 30 starting to spike up even further, huh? Yeah, back to odd JPY right here. Let me just draw these zones real quick. So we got that right there. These all connect right here. So this is actually one big zone. Then we have another one right here. And then another one down here. So that's solid. Let's see if there's any upper zones right here. We gotta get those upper zones. Whoops. Nothing there on the daily, 8 hour, nothing there. The weekly. Damn, so this is a weekly zone. So the zone that odd NZD is currently in is a weekly zone. So it's a pretty strong zone. Other than that, I think this is the next zone up here. So I'm gonna go back on the 4 hour right here. So I think this is gonna keep pushing up, Shawn. So basically right here off this, we have the rejection off this structure right here. Not sure if you're in a buy or a sell, but if you're in a buy, I think you're pretty solid. We have rejection off this structure. We have the buy signal right here. A broken close past the structure right here. But keep in mind that this is a weekly resistance. So this whole area right here is perfectly fine. This would be a buy entry that would enter from this point. And then this would be the move right here. So if you're currently in this buy right here, Shawn, for odd JPY, I think it's going to continue pushing up. It's going to push up and probably test the structure right here before it decides to either break through it and continue higher or reject off and swing back down from this point, right? There's just two different things that can play out from this point right there. And then just looking at odd JPY, I'll look at the index over here. I think the Aussie is pretty strong. So the Aussie index right here is very bullish. And then looking at the JPY, JXY index, it's bearish. So as long as this continues pushing up and this continues pushing down, then you can anticipate odd JPY to keep pushing up higher and higher. Right now, obviously, they're both kind of bullish right now. The Aussie is bullish and the JXY is bullish. So like with this set right here, it's probably going to go sideways for a bit. Let me see. You gave me your price. So your entry price was at, let's see, 81,465. Oh, you got in super like way down there, Shawn. So you're perfectly fine. I think you're pretty solid because you got in like right before it even broke the structure. So let me see if this price is right. 81,465. You got in like so below. So you're in profit pretty nice right now for odd JPY. Looks like you sniped that right there. You know, right as soon as it broke the structure, you're in profit already like 55 pips. So you're doing pretty good. And I think it's going to continue pushing up, you know, as it continues. So like right here, I think it's going to continue push up to the structure. This is where the TP would be, you know, in my perspective, where I would put it at about 82.150. If you want to hold on to it and just keep moving your stop loss and profit, that's generally what I do. You see how these wicks happen right here for this previous signal? I mean, this previous candle. When you see a big wick like that, I put my stop loss at that wick. And then as it continues to push up, I'll probably move my stop loss to this wick so that you can just keep trailing it and lock in as much profit as possible. Sometimes I just take off my TP and then I just keep riding it as it keeps moving up with my stop loss up, up, and up. And I just keep riding it for as long as it goes. But you're doing pretty good. Yeah, you're pretty good on that OJPY. I think it's going to continue pushing up. So you're in profit about 55 pips now, and I think it's going to continue pushing up even further as we start. Let's see, Flynn mentioned something in the chat. What do you say, Flynn? Nice, Ivan. So it looks like you made some profit off that Bitcoin in US 30. So yeah, Flynn mentioned that, or no, Flynn, this is Ivan. Ivan said, I started FTMO challenge yesterday. So nice, you're in profit. So that's pretty good. You know, just keep it up. Ivan, you should be good to go. Flynn said, as soon as K2 said scalp hit full TP on Zoom call, I checked my trade and manually closed. No greed. Yeah, you know, whenever I exit, you guys should be good too with exiting trades like that. Other than that, let me see if there's anything else. Yeah, no, definitely, Shawn. You should be good. Just keep trailing it because I think it's going to keep pushing up. As long as it keeps pushing, I think you should be good to go. Let's see. Raz is asking if I think gold is going to go back up anytime soon. So I'll just pull up gold again. I had it marked up here on the 30. My mouse is about to die. I'll get my charger for my mouse. So gold, I don't know. It doesn't look like it's coming up anytime soon, Raz. So I mean, I analyzed it on the bigger perspective too. Let me, sorry, I'm just gonna plug in my mouse real quick. All right, so yeah, just looking at gold over here. Let me go on the higher time frame, the 4 hour. And I mean, it looks pretty bearish to me, Raz. So I don't think it's gonna push up anytime soon. But you got to keep in mind that the DXY is weak. So put DXY quick. Yeah, so the DXY right here, I mean, it's trying to push up, but it's not having any luck. So if it continues to push down further, then gold will probably push up. But I think at this point in time right now, it's just going sideways. Look at these candles. They didn't even move that much. So I personally wouldn't really hold on to it for that long. You can see the body of the candle is only about 55 pips versus normal movement here. It's like 100 pip movement, right? So just keep that in mind. I mean, just looking at gold here, we looked at it from the shorter time frame over here. It's on the 30-minute, it's still trending down. It looks like it's going to come down even further. So I don't see it coming up anytime soon, but who knows? You know, it's ranging within these two zones right here. So if it breaks below here, it's probably going to continue dropping. If it swings up and closes above here, then it might swing up in that direction as well. So it just really depends on you know what happens with current price. But you'll have to wait and see how it plays out. Otherwise, I think it's just going to go sideways for a bit because you can see here on the 4 hour, it's like not even moving at all. Let's see, Flint and Shawn, why do you refer to yourself in the third person? Shawn wants to analyze OJPY. Because if you look here in the chat, Shawn's asking the question, Shawn GST. It's another Shawn. It's not me. And his name's spelled differently too. It's STAN, SHAWN. So Flynn, I'm not sure if you noticed that in the chat, but there's a different Shawn here that's asking for the analysis. So it's not me necessarily that wants the analysis, the other Shawn. Or I don't know if you're just fucking with me and you know that you're just saying that, which might be the case too, but it's all good. So US 30 over here, I'm still waiting for the scalp entry if it ends up coming up. If it doesn't, you know, we'll probably call it a day. Yeah, it doesn't look like we're gonna get a scalp entry anytime soon right now. Looks like market volatility just died down completely as London session comes to a close. So other than that, me see if there's anything else over here real quick. All right, other than that, let me see if there's any other questions. Otherwise, I'm probably going to call it a day, guys, because it's already 10 a.m. and we're getting through mid-session. Market's just going to get slow from this point. So Razul said, Shawn, if US is closed, who trades between London and Asia close session? I mean, who clears trades? I'm trying to read your question, Razul. So, sorry, I'm not laughing at you, Razul. I'm laughing at Shawn because Shawn he just commented on that on Flynn. Razul said, Shawn, if US is closed, who trades between London and Asia session close? I mean, the market's technically still open. Razul, the futures market, the Forex market is open. It's just the US stock market is closed. So, so that's why the volatility here is very, very low, right? So you look over here on Friday, like this is normal volatility for US 30. It moves like a couple thousand pips, like at least 1,000 pips per session, right? So a full move right there. And you look over here from this market open. Obviously, you have the opening candle there. It's only moved like a little bit. It's moved like 600 pips, which is like nothing, right? It's not even enough for us to take a full-on scalp if we wanted to for any of these other entries. We have the entry here that we did take this morning, which hit TP. But other than that, it's just overall market volatility is just really slow. But there's still trades that get cleared, throughout the day because the banks from other countries and institutions and stuff like that are still trading. And then traders like me and, retail traders like us, we're still trading as well. So we're still able to push the market a little bit, but not as much as it normally gets pushed around. Flynn said, definitely messing with you, Shawn. Yeah, no, definitely. I had a feeling you were. But yeah, guys, so I think that's about it. Unless you guys have any other questions, I'm about to log off for the day. Just a reminder, I'm going to be going live for the next mentoring session at 3 p.m. my time. So that's in about 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. So in about 5 or 6 hours, I'll be going live again. And if you guys want to sit in on that, just make sure to like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel and turn on notifications so that YouTube knows that you want to watch my videos and they'll send you an email whenever I go live. And I go live about 3 to 5 times a day. So I think that's about it, guys. Hopefully you guys made some profit off that US 30 trade and everything else that we looked at this morning. But other than that, market's slow due to the US holiday. So we're going to call it a day. And I'll be back live later for the mentoring session. Otherwise, if you guys have questions, just reach out to me on Telegram. You can email me at Shawn@K2trades.com. Oh yeah, guys, and if you guys have a funded account, it's about to be 10. So make sure your accounts, your trades are closed for indices. If you guys have a funded FTMO, sorry guys, I just remember that. At 10 a.m., you have to close all of your indices trades. So if you have a funded account, keep in mind, guys, close your trades. Whether it's in profit or not in profit, and then you can just reopen it later once the market reopens. So that's about it, guys. Market's closing in about 7 minutes, so I'd probably take a break for a while, come back during Asia session, and then we'll take some more trades. Otherwise, if you guys have questions, just reach out. Thanks for showing up, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next session. So